We say mo bibiara kwa ba famra Kastle 90.3 FM memman ho do dwumezi na ewiabere yehia ewodui na ewiabere yebezi inkomo afa my konkrongana ho any that the finance minister or oil parliament na ozi the 2025 budget needs kwekotugwa ewo ho. The aftermath of the budget, even in some and that after the budget, the minority led by the former finance minister honestly hold a press conference on oil debating tax. But what are the facts and figures on those issues? Is it really that the previous government, Wanje betting tax ana 1G oil lottery wins taxes on it ana Ewiabere yebema ehu and pay Osman will do in common, but Ewiabere will also delve into the matter, delve deeper into the matter. Na yezimu in common. What are the real issues? What are the real factors? Is it true that there's going to be a freeze on public sector workers? What are some of the allocations and then the adjustments? By the end, the former finance minister said, the 2025 budget, we spoke the truth backed by facts. Now, Honorable Haruna Idris Nsuwa explained the reasons why the 2025 budget didn't announce sudden abolishment of COVID-19 levy or COVID levy. Ewiabere enyi in some another inkomo ahro ayere bebezi ewo dwumezi do ma u messages na zen embra. Currently we are streaming live on Facebook Kastle 90.3 FM and then also on YouTube Kastle 90.3 FM. Like the page, share now for comment photo yankan and for more. Also, the various platforms are here or text message and a WhatsApp message in Nansuno, Ewiabere or active. Yarushade as Baba, na ya can yazi amo. Papa 0244743143 0244743143. But in 2024, revenue raked in from gaming and betting industry amounted to about 495.6 million. Now, actually, the Ghana Revenue Authority, a document backed with the collection of these revenues. Honestly, or stating it clearly. But only that there was an issue. Ebia, the former finance minister, so Onya Butara, nke Ebia. Because the issue was that the lottery tax, Onyaza Waje, that was what the former finance minister Orica. But with the betting tax, where lottery winnings, in one and a watcher tax in here, the lotto operators, companies, in one and a watcher those taxes, because now Abani harmonized regime policy and a harmonized regime mechanism. Or the budget like the mobile money, because with the lotto no we take it corner kejuska. But with the bet they will just can go accounting mobile money, and through that they have the revenue to deduct the tax from it. And to whether or not the betting tax was collected or not, it is true. It is true. And Terabri, you're busy in Como Ahro Alpha, and the budget presentation home. Mrs. Kwamina Esuman, Mamma Sanmo Aquabe Bill, a Pragia rider, a two taxim, Bia Ewobiana, Eriabri, Wasugi, and other areas in Come, Yamo, Oye, Aquabe Bill, Memphis Danosubi, and Farmer production team headed by Mr. Bernard Ogo, Osman FKK, Blackus, and Alfred Insu, HNR L, Facebook, and our YouTube, and all other social media handles in Yan. We are also streaming live this very afternoon. As then be so Encoma Ridge Royal Hotel and our Betway Bet Saver. With Betway and the Champions League go and I'm Betty away taxi if you do this. He said Black who said dia was the canal de Benyo. So Yaboka Humano Dona Enye Professor Vincent Asamfo from University of Cape Coast Ekezi in Como on Enida the budget presentation or the finance minister Honorable Kastle Atoba Fossen Ozikwe Kotu Iguano El Honibi dev into it na yahwe issues and some brewum into the other sectors. Some of the sectors and so one capture one in the budget. What was the issue? And then going forward, woman so on into Eriabri Yanko na Yama Professor Vincent Asamfo Akawa. Prof, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Meji de Eriabri Yamiadu Bibia Boko. Yada Yamia say. We are busy at the Agent Feduna and Yenny Basin Como. We are very much grateful. But Prof, ended that budget Yenino, now we were anticipating that the finance minister or the budget presentation, Baba, now what is entailed in the budget. Were you impressed or meet your expectations or a budget of hope, Anna?
Yeah, make sure one it's here for you now. I'm the session ended a budget finance minister but you go now. And now Ghana for you now when ended up soon there in summer NDC what kind John Mahama came in the course of the campaign, you know, especially some of the promises of an tax and the general management of the economy now. No be actually name there. What they or say or yana. And after presentation, you know, say a monitor largely when I work there was Sikasemu, financial experts, economists, you name them, Guta, the teacher unions, share other social and civic groupings. But with the largely the comment is favorable in the sense that looking at the state of Ghana's economy, I will be arguing to me the economy no na honzen wo form on internet there you go and continue the one bomb so na yintumi engineer ye no. And looking at the circumstances for the minister to come up with the budget and or the there, or a budget largely meets the expectations of most Ghanaians. Of course, it will not be every Ghanaian and in your budget, but if you go on the streets, you go on social media, these are the experts in finance and economy. This budget is actually one of the best budget we have had in living memory.
This budget is one of the best budgets. Hello, Prof. Yeah, I say this budget to you know is one of the best budgets.
Yes, if you you go into the details, share the circumstances we find ourselves in as a country. all my IMF in there without IMF now can the economy collapse long ago no. For a minister to still have the boldness to continue with and even innovate and bring on board new social intervention programs in addition to continuing the ones already in existence. It should tell you that this minister means well to help the president achieve his vision. So that and this assessment obviously is something that all the experts in the finance and economy wonder what the budget has say, and wonder what the politics of budgeting and the politics of the economy and the politics of financing. They will tell you that this budget arguably will pass as one of the very good budgets.
Oh, okay. So on my a hope of economic recovery, another physical discipline in the near future.
Me now will depend on how our budgets, budgets are just statements of intention. Or word in the soon that have to paper though. Or may them on paper. It may look nice, it may look beautiful to the eyes, but implementation, no better there. Budget now on paper, or you fell, or you deal to the years, Yes, you care there, you be coders with Yutmayana, you care there, you be them Yutmayana. So on paper, the budget looks beautiful. What waka an implementation? And listening to the minister ended after the budget on Joy one a program.
Yes, PM Express.
The minister was emphatic that at the end of the financial year in December, we should come and judge him to say that the waka do bayana. And he said he's going to ensure that whatever he has said in the budget, we only just have to give him the benefits of the doubt because in the first budget. So in the second budget. Now you compare first one and the first one 1 year and you would make it first one I can't be yet, but in the first budget. No one my hand assurance there. The worker do obey. So for me, I will only give him the benefits of the doubt and hope and trust that the worker do obey. That is the most important thing. But on paper, the budget looks exciting.
So what are some of the areas are thought provoking? If you there, at least. Apart from this scrapping of certain taxes and the Kranoaba debate, what are some of the areas if you are thought provoking?
Well, actually, budget now, you can tell that the minister listened a lot to civil society. Or call a pro or in Bundin Komo on Twitter, which they call X, or he listened. Yes, taxes now I believe were some of the major campaign promise, and for a minister to come to Parliament in his first budget and remove those taxes, a major. In the course of the campaign, on some people said, SAB the taxes in Ghana so Nisika. In the bed then Sikana other promises na Amano able to mina then he came up with a solution. Many people said that they never thought of it. They made tax return Sikano.
Yes.
Where OE e-levy, no OE boiler tax now, which brings in about 2.something billion. He's going to have even an extra 1.7 billion to be able to deal with other social interventions. And that was smart. And actually, the other allocations are in terms of some of the campaign promises. They are making allocations for. What is important with budgeting is putting on paper to make allocation and actually sending the money. On paper, these interventions, these allocations are excellent. And it's for them to even find space on the budget presentation shows the commitment of the president and of the minister to actually bring the ideas into fruition. What for me is important is how we will go about it. And the minister has been very clear that he is going to rein in expenditure. And to say, if there is nothing one budgeted for, anybody and he will not honor that. So Otumde in some candidate and then it means there is no way we are going to overspend our budget. And the kind of borrowing on the T-bill market, because for now that is the only source of funding available to government aside taxes each year. Actually, the discipline he's bringing in, they go on the T-bill, they get in excess of what they need, and go put him around 20 billion. They say, no, I don't need 20 billion for now. I need only 9 billion. Then he takes the 9 billion. He takes the 5 billion. So to maintain the discipline, now Sika Yibenya from taxes, Yibenya from the yen export revenue. You're applying it to the allocated funds now. Then of course this budget will end up becoming one of the best. Like I said, on paper it is, but implementation of the talk that it is one of the best, actually allocations are why for the various sectors in terms of the campaign promises, coders, you allocate seed money. Of course, people will criticize it, will critique some of the allocations, and I will not begrudge them for that, especially when it comes to the Women Development Bank. The minister will have to come and explain to us what he means by 51 million Ghana cedi seed money. When the Bank of Ghana, by law, to set up a bank, you need 400 million cedis as the capitalization, even before you can get the license.
Yes.
And then so that's 51 million seed money. What is it? Is it for preparatory? Is it to set up the structure? Probably more explanation will have to be given. But the fact that that intention has even found its way into the budget shows the minister's intention to want to actualize these promises. And to free SHS, you see a lot of talk about in fact, this fund, the money, 3.8 or so billion allocated to it, is arguably one of the biggest allocations to the program since its inception in 2017. That should tell you the president's intention to continue the policy. Actually, the sanitary part, years back it became an issue. He has brought it back with substantial allocation, about 200 million Ghana cedis or 100 and something million Ghana cedis to buy sanitary pad for Yen Bisafwa and Mbebuna Woko School. So these and many other things shows how intentional the minister has been in preparing this budget.
Oh, okay. But before the budget presentation, the Ghana Statistical Service, the 2024 GDP growth rate, Betuga, about 5.7% growth. Now, the current administration or projects the GDP growth rate going forward about 4 point something. I mean, what does the figure say?
Well, I will not pretend to be an expert in finance and economics. No, I'm not. But in terms of budgeting, you look at your current strength.
Okay.
and then look at war inflows and see what the future will hold for you. I mean, if the minister had come to say, the real GDP growth for this year or target 10%, the question will be, how is he going to achieve that 10%? So I believe the minister is being modest in his projections. Yes, we project to grow at 4%. If we grow more, hooray. Because actually, how constrained your economy is, your productive sector, taxes are things have slowed down. Of course, you ask the 5% growth of last year. No, the question that has to be asked is what fueled the growth? Was it in the real sector? Was it in the productive sector? Actually, the details now, it is more in the extractive gold sector.
Yeah.
Is that sustainable? And I believe a finance minister looking at the realities of today will say, let us be modest in our projections. Yes, we projected we got 5 point something last year. Looking at the circumstances now, are we going to get that? Let's be modest. 4%. Look, if you make 4% growth and we're able to grow the economies by 4% in the real sector, in terms of job, creating more job creation. If we create jobs and people are paying taxes, the real GDP will show. But when the GDP is boosted by just not insignificant one aspect of the economy, the extractive, and don't forget, a lot of this extractive income, apart from taxes and royalties, much of Sikanina, they repatriate their profits. They repatriate their profits. So you ask yourself, yes, on paper we will have grown 5-something%. But in reality, how has it benefited the Amenawo as Ghanaian taxpayers? But at the end of the day, the city is still not strong. So we will have grown 5.7, but in terms of real income, inflation is still high. The cedi to dollar is still high. So how come the main growth is unreflected in our pockets? It means the growth did not take place in the real sector. How did agri contribute to the sector? No? How did job creation contribute to the growth? These are the questions that we should be asking. At the end of the day, agri contributed this. Growth in employment sector contributed to the. Of course, it means the growth is in the real sector. But where the growth finds itself in the extractive and a lot of the profit is repatriated, putting pressure on our city, then the growth becomes beautiful on paper, but in terms of its reflection on young life, as Ghanaians, it becomes minimal. So I believe that is why, in my opinion, the minister, I'm sure in the coming days will be engaging the media. The questions will be thrown at him, trying to be modest in our expectation. If we grow consistently at 4% for the next 4 or 5 years, and it is in the real sector, in terms of production, industry, service sector, those are the real sectors. If they are the ones that is fueling the growth, but when it reflects in our pocket, because it will show in employment rates, it will show in the growth in the service sector. Growth economy benefits, but where it is in the extractive industry and much of the profit is repatriated outside the country, on paper it will look beautiful, but in reality, many Ghanaians will not benefit from such a growth.
Now, going forward, from April going, we'll be realizing the real issues on ground, because with VAT reforms in the budget, Finance Minister will seek technical assistance from the IMF. This bears into mind that we are still under IMF, and certain areas of the economy, they are still controlling it. Now, with the reforms the Finance Minister all proposed with the VAT regime in Ghana, the IMF, whether or not coming in, will it make or make these VAT reforms, and to what effect will it have?
Well, I believe this question can better be answered by tax experts. But if I can just make my own layman's argument on it, yes, actually VAT is a consumption tax. So the more VAT is compounded, it reduces consumption. And actually how the VAT has been calibrated, at the end of the day, it comes up to about 21%. Even though, because Eco Supermarket na Ecoto, how they share receipt, They don't know about the VAT 12%. Or back to the AMS. Well, yeah, was also a calculate on the total VAT. The VAT is like VAT on VAT. In Tebe, ever can health insurance levy, ever can get funds levy, ever can that in Sabomno. Now VAT in the field they be a 15%. Everything an additional 6% has accumulated. So businesses are suffering in terms of how the tax is being calculated. So that is why I believe it is good that the minister is initiating some reforms in the tax regime, decoupling the NHIL and then the GET fund from the main VAT to let them stand alone as they used to before Ken Oporiata changed the whole computation. I believe it will inure to the benefit of the business people. And when you listen to Guta and you listen to Chamber of Commerce, at least I've heard of Guta, they are excited about the new proposition. Yes, and I'm happy the minister is bringing in the IMF, because we are still under the IMF. Even though one will have thought that we have tax experts in Ghana to do that. But there's nothing wrong asking the IMF for their opinion. And together with our own tax expert, I'm sure they will be able to re-engineer a tax VAT regime over businesses. Because VAT near that high, like I said, if these are business people, they are paying in excess of about 21% of VAT. And what it means is that it is the consumer who is bearing that brunt. Automobile engineer, that's the COVID levy component of the VAT is removed. That will reduce the VAT. Now we'll decouple, that's why you stand alone. Now all go back to the pre-Kenoforiata regime. Now, I believe it will lessen the burden on businesses, and Kenyan as consumers will also gain, because when the taxes come down, it reflects on the prices on the shelves. And of course, taxes every year will be reduced. And I believe it is a good thing that has to be done. For me, let's see how the computation will go and see how, as Ghanaians, as consumers, will benefit, because VAT is a consumption tax. And quota into here. And there are things you have no choice than to buy.
Yes.
Which are not VAT exempted. And it's a will recalibrate, not Obobwana will reduce tax the VAT ratio now. I believe all the best, and Ghanaians and the consuming public will benefit from such a recalibration.
And this issue has two sides because IMF is also being considered. So, I mean, do we have the probability that the IMF coming in, with these reforms, it won't work, and it will work?
No, one good thing with the IMF in recent past in the program now, what happened? it is premised on man all your program. She said.
Yes.
So in can also the IMF conditionalities. IMF conditionalities. IMF said they have realized that they have moved away from those conditionalities.
Okay.
So they come to the country. For one she share bra. One she share no. Yedi yejuma obey ye yana. Well, IMF won't she share yejuma. Then they come and bring in their experts and then bring in the funds to help you implement the program. And it is not like the IMF is coming to impose a policy on us. It is our policy. All that we need to do is to tell the IMF how we want to go about it. If the IMF agrees with us, of course, if they don't agree, that becomes a different discussion. But this is our program, this is our policy, this is our budget, and this is how we want to go about it. Bring in your expert. Let's see how we can recalibrate it. I don't think that the IMF will say you have no business recalibrating it. Leave it as it is. I don't think that is how IMF discussions go these days. You always see the IMF listening to the countries who is subscribing to one programs and wire them. And so I don't see how there's going to be a problem as far as this issue is concerned. I expect the IMF to come and help us alleviate the burden on the Ghanaian. I don't expect IMF over there. 21% in Bufido Santino, Yema VAT in Kobe 30%. I mean, the IMF will do such a thing.
Oh, okay. Prof, I mean, Mr. This final question, now, actually, point 478 of the 2025 budget now, make can be also in 2025, government will implement the following measures to keep the wage bill within sustainable level. I fully implement the net freeze on employment by immediately putting on hold all recruitment or replacement into the public service, given that the recent realignment and collapse of some MDAs has brought about surplus labor. In this regard, there will be no extension of contract for all public offices except in education, that is the universities, which will be capped and done within budgetary compensation. What do you make of this net freezing on employment?
Well, the member of net freeze on employment has been with us for a very long time. I mean, if you go back in our history, in our budget, I mean, I think ever since President Rawlings' time, President Kufuor's budget, all the way to now, you hear the term net freeze in employment, especially in the public sector. I mean, that is not to say that in the public sector, no, one fun impact. I mean, teachers are being employed, nurses are being employed, and then when it is necessary in the civil service, people get employed there. And so the idea of the net freeze is not to say there's a total freeze. It's not a total freeze in employment. It is a net freeze. In other words, employment will be done as and when it is necessary. Only soon there, the employment regime will not go on. That is why the private sector will have to be re-engineered to become the engine of growth. And in terms of public, and I like the part where contract appointment is going to be abolished,
yes,
especially in the public service. Because you go to the ministry, or be at the 60 years, also there he will want to continue as a director in the ministry on contract. I mean, really, there are many 1,001 people in that ministry who can do it. Even in the university, which is exempt in the ministers, there are some departments where a time will come, post-retirement contract will be very difficult to defend. Because if you have about 3, 4, 5 professors in that department, and one of them has reached the retirement age, and the other 4 are in the same area of expertise, they are even younger. They've been about 10 more years to work to go on retirement. Why should that person who has reached 60 years be given a post-retirement contract? So a time will come when the people begin to start looking at issues like that. But for now, maybe because you need so many professors in certain areas, you know, a crow retirement, then we have to keep him there so that Obotumna will train others to come after him. So the issue of net freeze in employment, it is not like I said, Oya Brofa that has featured in budget for many years. But also there, abandoning funding. I mean, people get employed.
Okay.
As and when it is necessary. So that is why it is net freeze, not total freeze.
Okay. So this is the reason why going forward, stated the heads of services and public institutions are to undertake eternal restructuring to place staff in understaffed areas and training to reskill or upskill others.
Exactly. Because, I mean, even if you're teaching field of camp, you go to a particular school. Now there were more than enough teachers. One subject, you be about 3 or 4 teachers. Call a different school. Every corner teacher could not teach about 4 or 5 subjects. So one school is understaffed, another school is overstaffed. So it is about doing rationalization, moving people where they will be understaffed, and then ensuring that where it is overstaffed, you move people around. When you do that rationalization, then you move people around. They don't go, we here there for now, you be for be. Another okay, the main movement around. You to me when there's still a year 50. Yeah, for one can home a jumano So it's about rationalizing the stuff and moving people around and ensuring that where there is need to recruit, you recruit. So recruitment doesn't become a wholesaler. At the end of the day, you know, a boatman for 100 will go one place or what's on my when you be here because there's more hands than probably needed there. So it's about rationalizing employment. It is not about that. It's not about the M.
Prof, Yandasi, well, what time spent with us this afternoon? Going forward, you know, we'll probably knock on your doors again. Now is in community. Yandasi, be Prof. All right. Ebusia, yanyi Professor Vincent Asamfo, or Associate Professor of Religion and Politics at University of Cape Coast. And yanyi in Komo area bri the 2025 budget presentation. Yeah, but some year how many bill. They would also speak to one political expert or government expert on the budget presentation at the Minister of Finance. Then also, yanyi assembly members who be in common, and the ones who are assembly. The might the black was crisis because of that into KD assemblyman was upon okay. And see, you're busy in commotion. But what messages in Embra 0244 743 143. Text message, another WhatsApp message. Na in Z in Como Ewaha. Right. Yeah, yanko na yanyi ora Amon Kote Nkezi in Como or governance expert. Amon Kote, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Apo me. There me say be there be one so why boko. Okay, there me say. Elida the finance minister the budget no ko tuga or Parliament. Ma minya o general view on the whole presentation. The issues are open.
Well, as usual, or no, some structures in the city. you political party when you are doing over manifesto. Choose a manifesto. Then you go and sign contract with the Ghanaians. The Traban. You know, Trabama. So, outgoing government now be Shana. Also, a transition. Now, on you are abiding the man. But the man we are, constitution is the opening of parliament and also in the State of the Nation address. And tomorrow, the State of the Nation address now. Now, when you are doing now, all the two crap also in a manifesto form. The SSL within 1 year, also she now this is a tariff. They already been 2 years, and also the immediate ones, medium and long term, and the opposition is high. So, overshare, Ira Mama can say, obey taxes be a yes, but me ye feel. Okay, say, or the big push be back $10 billion. The road infrastructure. Big push, we are Hiskabia or the Asho. Or can say, obey e-levy, betting tax, fuel, emission levy, within the budget, so be more assembly members allowance who say appear. And so far, so good. Not to find details, ministers will appear to come and defend their various ministries. And so far, so good. We targeted 290 billion cedis as revenue. I think that so far, so good.
This budget presents a hope, another just as usual. This budget, or a budget of hope, another usual. Abribia, what is being presented on paper, and finance minister and so on.
It depends on what you call hope, because budget are financial estimates. We are waiting to see. Say Sikanu Beba. Now Yadiama various sectors no be Now the target of group has been met. The target of inflation has been met. All other indicators we can test them along the line. And we just say hope no the idea because the budget didn't come with slogan. Not like previously a Japan budget to say a Kumapa budget to there to the baby, or minus the car 700 and something billion. So this time, young slogan be I don't know be a hope no Odeban.
Oh, okay. You share the allocations are why education, the big push, and then the coda, and then those. Okay, Messi, you share the allocations now. Aban why big push na no enkikaho elho. 13.85 billion allocation for the big push program. 499.8 million allocation for non-academic fee policy for first-year students in public tertiary institutions, 292.4 million allocation for the distribution of free sanitary pads to female students in primary and secondary schools, 242.5 million allocation support for victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage, 200 million allocation to support victims of tidal waves. 3.5 billion allocation for free secondary education program. 564.6 million allocation for comprehensive provision of free curriculum-based textbooks. 1.788 billion allocation for the school feeding program, and then also 145.5 million allocation for the capitation grant, and it's about 19. I mean, with the current regime, the economy is in bad state. The economy is collapsed. In fact, the president now posted the economy was criminally handled by the previous administration. Do you think this allocation is feasible?
It is based on budget estimate. So when he is able to make the money, he distributes it or appropriate it. Mm-hmm. So feasibility now can say the Obobo is it more than the 290 billion targeted?
Okay.
No. So where is your feasibility coming from? Feasibility coming from? Where is it coming from? Because these are budget, they are estimates. Mm-hmm. And based on the revenue that will be generated. And I'm just saying, the allocations are in are there. And in Libya, is it going to be more than the budgeted figure, revenue figure?
Okay.
If not, where is your problem? But if it is going to be more than that, then you can ask this question. And also say, you think that they cannot make that revenue. So, reframe your question.
Oh, not that. Say budgeting the way making projections. But then, yes, say putting things on paper and then the implementation is also another issue. That was why I asked that question.
So that is why I'm also telling you, say, unless you have some reservations, say he cannot collect that revenue or he cannot hit that target. Okay. Then we can sing the same song. But if you don't have any doubt, you don't have any challenges, that shows the previous years, they were not able to collect that revenue. Mm-hmm. For instance, if you say that, I can understand the question. Okay. But if you don't have any justification for saying that the monies cannot be raised, I don't see the question. You need to prove to me, say, yes, you in your mind, and from your observations, this amount of money cannot be, how do you call it, received. Mm-hmm. Then I feel you got GR for Akubisa or Mwasem. So, last year, what was your target? And what was the actual in terms of revenue? And then, why is it by reason at the this level? Are you sure you can collect this money for us? This is simple. Because the previous, now when you have money and you want to build a cathedral of $58 million, you are renting aeroplane 19,000 an hour. Where is all the? Are you seeing such expenditure in the budget? So, you are doing with 126 ministers. Do we have the same, or even 80? Do we have the same? No. This time, So it means somebody means business, and another person was also doing something else.
Oh, okay.
Because if your economic indicators, because this target is about 15 to 19% inflation, growth is about 4.something%. What indicators again are we looking at? you think say they cannot hit it. Then we have a problem for the group. We can always revise it, especially when you put things together and you realize it's going up. That always revise it. It doesn't spoil anything.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm the assembly members. What do you make of, because President Meki that promise, in the lead up to the election, now Obeno will make sure that the promise, will figure into the budget. What do you make of that allocation?
Yeah, assembly members, more struggle at check. Almost struggle at check. This is the time they have received some recognition, and I think President Mama, I would say Bonabaso, says Ska will be the Paco renty aeroplane or the chair assembly members. Ska will be DC Cathedral or the ABB Fufo. For the country, because girl child, your child records girl child, a TV because of monthly period condition now. Na onyeska and for because on to me fan to Magono and Conundum school. So a cook games to cry on to me yashi. I hear Ujina friends in the crown because to my book so it makes girl child education become a little bit worrisome. And if we have means of I think that somebody, a smart person, they should quickly establish this part factory here locally. And then and then he can make good money. The government is going to buy from you to and that will also keep the growth GDP going. But one here, everything will be coming from outside. I don't know whether we have a localized company working on that thing. I don't know. But if it's coming from outside, it's not the best. Somebody should, some investor should quickly take advantage over this, So there are so many areas government Mama for now, or Baby free SHS mu, and by no by Obichem, Mama Obichem, and he has allocated funds for free SHS. That's allocated big for first year students.
That the uncapping of the GET fund and then NHI.
I think we should always pray for a president like this, So. I don't see where the fear is.
Oh, okay. All right. Ramon, I my endasi for your time. All right. Okay. Ebusia yanyi ora Amon Kote ena yinko ekozi enkomo. Ba yaboko yanyi assembly members ni binsu ekezi enkomo. Honorable Takin and Honorable Husseini. Assembly member for Tibudakon electoral area. Yanyo beko kudi inkomo. One so one day our by some day. I mean, what fun then? What impact is this going to make in carrying out their mandate as an assembly members and their respective electoral areas? So, Mokese friend in the may you free her. We have in common pan and the Zemo and see may you kese friend in free her. My message is in number 0244 408 046 0244 408 354 0244 408 046 0244 408 354 na yenzi enkomo ewa ha. Yes, Fabra. Ma menkora menye Honorable Takin inkezi enkomo. Honorable Akwaba.
Yeah.
Beji de ya bibi aboko.
Na nkopana do bibi aboko no wan say.
Oh Christ na do. Na who electoral area what then?
nyankofa na adoma asem ye hopa.
Na since there are some down wabo ana
But Hindra
His Excellency our budget team and the Finance Minister Duke Kotuga government will to allocate Sika de Amon the support assembly members as promised during his campaign tour.
Yeah, I know quite but those cano Minchia with you for na Nanyora or Ejimasuna or is was Roboa Cape Coast Central Regional Ghana. I shall under that na Assembly why so much interested in the budget, sir. Or your finance minister now also on board because during the campaign, lots of assembly members were called through or campaign structure often His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the campaign office. Our new assembly members or come over for that. Which na wabwa Juma Ozbaba and Ozabosum Ghana. You now share Ghana football day. Yankopanepia. Bibi Damutuma Kodona Ozama assembly members. No, what's an argument another day? During the campaign, no. Now, government in power and communicators now work I promise I will make it a dog. One for fail. And see, Jizigari in the day. I feel so that she manifesting Butumwa Bado. And see, them, we see my young day. The whole the area that we to Nawaye. And Yemen was them or 10 manifesting. We to Nawad in exam or assembly members. Only first Nanka, Yangasa, Yazin could come scales and Rama Crani the other Sunyan, let's try yes. A few between Vika Kana as I support the medium. You see, in some Cassandra assembly members.
Now, I don't know if our budget, the amount you'll be getting, or was stating clearly during the campaign period that a specific amount, like 200, 500, 600, will be an allowance for the assembly members. Have you budgeted for such an amount?
For now, none of the assembly members can budget for any amount coming from the government. Or your promise no make key. And I was a budget in them. Saying the total amount were allocated for that allowance by 100 million Ghana cedis. And suddenly in total Ghana had also a dozen. And it's on to the government to do the alignment there. Every assembly member this amount able to mean winner. And other yet also saying there it has been allocated in the budget. Budget is an estimator. Manana Yaba young money in scale butcher. And see other expectations in terms of amounts, we should be moderate about any expectations. The government may your own farm which is from the government. I'm a DBR no I am called. You see for now no a very difficult to dedicate a particular amount that the amount here was mama him.
Now, maybe sir, to what extent and my Obebiano Obo as an assembly member within your local area or your electoral area in carrying out your mandate as an assembly member?
Oh, it will really be an important opportunity part to get little amount from the government. Because the meaning can since I say one announce impui. You need to be in fee or ye obia ho. As well, you signed as a way show the trial or the chosen come assembly. Now, assembly with one man. Now, could be a order of pedal to a ball electoral area. Including now, it is on the assembly member now, or ye. And at least in car, the Bianca assembly member no but certain. Then car, and there are Gobizan son with to know why or ye particular street lights. So the you look a cable cancer. If you there's some call 2 days, is obey 1 day. In terms of the Obopa ma, Sadigo Hananko, but take a long time for a member to do it. With Tumina, while being Northern or ye, let's try and once one heart on. But currently, I can say, Yen Gibian, she'll be a ho. Gibia make a sacrificial. Our day in a period of some in the trial. you should have a
you're born one Jumezi a room that offer extra bed in the farm because he's here. One turn a crow cry and now as I remember Kajan police station, Kobe minimum payment, maybe school fees. Offer extra bed in the mother, what to want to do.
The work of that film by it's always my extra. It's the American consistent. What's about mom electric. Let's say I'm fan there. Manuana for car for them could be on police station or what you or court. Like some those kind of yeah. Majority of the Indian or Yasuna Manana, Uchia Face, no. Asimbia by a Toyon Tun Sasuma Manano Bay. That's humanism for what the dado. It's why you effective because no, as soon as there's no problem. And at that time, there are some one Deniska. In some moment, you know, more effective there. At least, which one you make a crowd support from home with Sindiano. Mama, the medium more effective than they other more extra. Humanity is the dado. But the effectiveness and all the behavior because of lack of resources and energy. Most of them. You see the more opportunity in terms of some little resources to more support and you don't know more effective than extra work.
Oh, okay. And AED or a good news for all assembly members and
very, very, very good news. And we hope that more can on-chair within a short possible time. Which is why we leave this now. Start today. I'm various assembly members now. With 2 hours are born in the trial areas now.
Oh, okay. Honorable, you're not saying it's kind of a basic come.
Oh, I'm going to be out of it. I'm there. I'm being man, free. Says, Mama, the could be an I've been a use Mama Galco. Yeah, Scanabana. I'll tell from now small.
Honorable Taki, yeah, that's it. Every
mother, some that's in Yamanko now. A similar member of Chapel Scale, Honorable Takin, in collaboration with Oye and Tabetson, based on Oye, what can you do? On your China, they are free house screening.
Okay.
Oye, literally,
what Chapel Square, literal area.
But you know,
okay.
But you're Chapel Square, why ever start on a part 8. The idea will be able to maba. You could be not only from the electoral area of the thing. Okay. Because that's a phenomenon of those from the teaching hospital. So we are now going to be able to maba. Abortion free. Maybe for health insurance for bra. Man here, everybody are free.
Okay. Honorable, court one in our one electoral area. No. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there is an issue. Yendu come on area neko about oye embassy afuna what two and amuno sudugu oye gatenuma court ejuma yafono want to mo yin won ejuma no. What steps are you taking? Because man kasa ma abaho.
Oh, but it has not come on to my notice so. And Mr. Afuna him fadama because there the courts not around no. Mr. Afubia and you ho. Be a post office one. Maybe near the corner. You know, one in your residential area. You see, specifically in one of them.
I wanna where you more court on Obian back Obian Kebian show them.
David.
Okay, but Mancasa, my mabo got oh, yeah, no moon cano honorable is serious.
And I know,
in fact, one hour court one crampono on 2 at times who you more agent FR or Anglican or side now.
Yeah.
Aha.
Oh, okay. Now no more for her. But this also another year of the young. There's an assembly within the area.
Okay.
It's a bit the ma. Now, I have some number you to Hanaman. But there will be all there. That be for Chibi within us or how I've been a one. Now, Yama, similar Donati, you to Hanaman. In fact, Mashada make your court in which specifically an Anglican when you know. Now, I'm now you take notice of it. May I should be there. the issue in Shibana, you to one man.
All right. My friend is in common on that issue, no. Arabu that's it. Her screening is time for to go be now.
8 o'clock a.m.
Okay.
We are expecting by 700.
Okay.
That is what has been catered for.
And the venue near him.
Chapel Square
okay.
Chapel Square. In between ADB and we see Methodist Church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arabo, yeah, that's it.
All right.
Okay. I will say any honorable taking in cuisine come out no far. Oh yeah. 100 million assembly members. Hey, oh yeah, easy. But a bit much as why you want to calculation. So, do you know the number of assembly members in the whole country, Anna? Chichimna share the assembly members no be abenya hen. Yesterday, Honorable Husseini, assembly member for Tibu Dakon Electoral Area, Yanyi Nusu Edin come on this same issue. Na Ashwanusuni concerns on it. Area Mabi Gofun Baba Betinasi na is in common. I have Kastle 90.3 FM. Memman Hodo Jumezi and area is in common. Honorable Hussein, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Honorable Apome.
Good afternoon.
And I say, Miji Devi Abiwu electoral area, what the D? Now, Uncle Fash has said about Buma with the announcement of 100 million. What the Bob was assembly members. So what do you make of this budget allocation for the assembly members?
Welcome. Mr. Kastle na my electoral area for. On the one of my and the Kastle from what from the Nikom, which will be the Elba, Okasana, I welcome a family man bear or gun idea and you're sure that meanwhile, very good news.
To what extent, Erna, this allowance or supporter Abanedibano Obobwa Ewo One Ejumayim based on the challenges the supposed challenges as I remember saying you in Komobia, so we are faced with challenges.
Oh, in fact, really young challenges to do some assembly or sacrificial work. In the Juma reason, there are waiting ways whether opera assembly, not challenging Pocono, a sense of sacrifice to be one side, instead of waiting ways whether was the age man. Now, a money starting from the term I am paying the roll for the Bobazin, no bearing my assembly, human work. Nam Kakakra, wording the new one Kakakra. You see, recently, political election as you know, work for Sorono. Now, my first one, I joined by assemblymen who don't know. Where I reject assembly members, you know, say, and yeah, inclusive one war. Programs are area, a very problem. It is actually young current president some time ago, no, or the two, you know, the Oba, take good care of the assembly members. But due to one or two reasons, due to Mambadu. So we join another day. So assembly members, as some of them, I don't have the enough money there, Oba, or Bobo assembly members, or send another Kasa, why the management be there. You see, what to Obama, I mean, the man in second year of the day, name there, and the man means business. As assembly member, the Americans may assure that I'm a month for they are happy with it. Assembly man, all the Nejuma said on the allowance to be the moving to why is Manama community winning also. Was and swat about them and view. Into them will leave the over Bacanwa. Imagine. About pushing more than the oil incident. So a very good
intervention or point.
But before then, what were some of the challenges and assembly members will face? Solve the whole issue, but what was the real issues?
Challenges are no also I am thinking about in our region, but kakra able to me and the instant challenges are always assemblyman was going to score there to resolve. There, yet no one. Mami pendua sumada omba kancho de naga wako bofo man nensa webu or was no course with enti mankare tawna ahwe once our baka chons and there's a reason I don't want over catchero or is kasam and 50 Ghana 100 Ghana power edition when I come our course with now once I can face 8 years and kind of family will take over will take over no so did you as assemblyman. Anytime they are ever tried your communal labor, or they to me in schedule to come. So they in hard working people now over born or that is it's a fresh one. Young ones. In painful demonsa if you want to come on a bob on any we are Baman so as Baman. No, on then channel so. And the assemblyman, what time I see Jimano? Assembly to almost 70% of your working time. Ntiyanka mbere ya assemblyman dimaza ezibia no be assemblyman intimi nya more time and pay ejima. Ina so in there time is money. Me intimi nya de ejima me enya money no. You wa say ejima area so sense spending kitimi. And the challenges is the odoso. The mayor or be the oboboy and papa. More especially Cape Coast. Assembly 45 electoral area. Most of the assembly members in our experienced assembly members. If you want the third term, if you want the second term, if you want the fourth term. One of our first time assembly members know a few. Even touch of our cheddar, we mustn't know to win first, second, and third. That time on them no few in you. And so the Bazano cheddar, I think that the Munko from so. Modu. Yeah, more than that. I'm away of Tampa or Zifra.
Oh, okay. Into the Assam down a waba and all right. Honorable Yandase, but I don't know. I calculate me able to me.
On the calculations, I calculate me able to me. Now, I sometimes my brother. No sure the area introvert and I introvert is Muntum.
Oh, better Mintra, but more more what you be.
But more fun there's a little 50 million hour. No unknown to everybody. One putting in the age to 50 million. But my spend it can as I put a year on water.
Okay.
But the moment I do Hogan or Dabba today, age to 50 million. What kind of pressure about it? So, one year, 10 million. So, when there is 50 million. And maybe 2 million now, I can 48, but so on, it's 50 million, different person. And the question about the more there, they know that my family man, and one can do one city one on 10.
Oh, honorable, yeah, for Tuga, approximately, we are talking about by 1,000 and by 900.
Oh, well, yes, we are government in pressure, but we are estimating more than 1,000 cities.
Oh, okay. At least by 1,003 be hit on our country.
About also, but when you say why not? We will still be happy.
Wow,
it's better than none.
Oh, so now I have some those. So I was within 4 years in every month. Tibiano, any extra 1,300 Ghana cedis or more. Instead of on easy.
At least by the close of 1 year for not most of the way we are lighting one, able to try the Ebama light work on. Oh, okay. Because at least in a certain support, you be able to also support 1 or 2 lighting in the community.
So with this, we need to see more, at least development.
Yeah.
On areas.
The development now we need to see so they did another promise and order. Them promising moments on President Mama or promising. But as President Mama being a good listener, You're not super table today. Like but waste. After the allowance in the world start urban, you're back there a year or two. Once some consider the second promise made by his junior brother, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia.
Okay.
Because Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia so promise the no so yami adum man so nsaka. Obama create electoral area command fund.
Okay.
The electoral area command fund, every electoral area, their assembly member there will receive a certain amount for development one electoral area. It is a bridge in a area, one the power to do it. So, Katabin a area, a borehole in a area, standing pipe in a area. On scannable when the man says, I am MPs, woman, common fund. It's not a welcoming, no President Mama, no manifesto, no vision there, or but fear assembly members. Allowance Amawonia and one with the Juma over what is it? President Mama winning ya what for free your best friend there, you junior brother Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia so a year or two, Vidia Koya, answer consider on the Senate, Nejimano only a pair.
All right. Honorable, Yanda say you agree.
Oh, you see the one as Papa, one hour Kastle FM. In Shira and Israel and Company of the Moon, now one. Nesre and Company of the Moon. Not CCNA, assembly members in the house. Most of the CCL and Kubum, no day here, Yakan, their woman chemicals of an atampa, Ofra. No be there as and Company on Shivia.
I mean, so I so bebre. We sent in and common nature all corners. Yenya assembly members will Yenya governance experts. Yenya professor ewum. And in command the traffic baby Yebenya justice in Okapi and so ha. Yenya oye Reverend Ben Amos. No Asha white. We di can for atanazi. Justice Akaba.
Yeah, Ejezuma.
I said, I'm a marble with you.
No, I cannot be wasting kind of for another.
It's on white.
Are you serious?
On you serious? Or white. Make an in terms of white now or so.
As a crow, a different war, kind of for you need to home pay. And a pet. But Obiosha white. They are occult Bible quotation, no diesel. Kind of for number one. And the matter Makawa several.
But I say.
And Obi Obesha na name ehun da why e beka ho asem.
Okay. Justice in Okapia. Man.
Yeah.
Akab.
Yeah, inia ma odikan manfa indima Kastle FM.
Yeah.
Minimum de
change.
Okay, indina akumapa with the take.
Okay, into also encha ewa ye didn't yabe from na yakọ because of
power with the take.
Yes.
Na me my brother.
Okay.
Justice.
Atoba force.
Maybe I free number calls. You didn't say. Michia Ghana etefu ina rankan.
All right.
Finfin mantum.
Okay.
Adishedom na NPP amayuku. Numudom, the rank and file of the leadership.
Okay.
And polling station officers, therefore constituency. Thereby hand region to our national level.
All right.
Baby Bear will be one and minority leader, the leader of the party represented at Parliament. Honorable Afenyo Makin, or to party being airful. That as far as Ghana Numpuntu is concerned, Aben Biaraba or Benafams in the NPP Aban, we believe there. Dodo Nara ye no yet me mufun kankan in Mebun one who Jumani yedi, but Odubribia. Even in Mebun Pojini the Aban for sombra non sombo shade or before so Benya or Manum Fasubia. And let's say that is what has happened. But the Mebunina NPP Amayuku in the last few years, wash one, page one, Mande, Ghana, Nefapim, especially with Yan Umusian, Yan engineering, Yan Ma, Wafran is STEM education, other Brem Mebunina, just within 4 years. Ibehunde Mebuno, when anyone will be no bohu, Eduma Suna, NPP Amayuku, or ye. The time when nature na ahwanara we who saints robe here there was the NPP basan about your Ghana member.
All right, very that's it. Okay, just mama wants opportunity now on switch within a minute na yankweni.
Madase eje suman memfa dam opportunities from kwa exam hen nne ewiabiri na me ncha me brother Amos Reverend ta yeshia pa 2 weeks ago na yeshia o man kesimi ne bia. Enjoy. Na memma minchie te fo sonko mezinchia sonko mezifi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the Messiah of our time and the nation builder. And the man, oye menije, oye mahuwa, da moso mekahu ma yabo si. The His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, ono pe nyobia ubutumu waba jiene fi ohaw na meminifi na kodanda no yenya. My brother Amos, now band led by Omampene Kufado, Nana Bezechi, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, was the Ghana for, was the end come. Inti, and you'll be a casa, I'll say, someone to about my His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in 2024 and Kawaya Wahum. Was Sunday within 2 months in Zama Wehunu. Professor Stephen Adai said, Kainibia, President Kufado man appointment. No war GRA board no sounds here NDPC National Development Planning Commission. In there, why can't say even though President Mahama only 100 days, but why can't say be there? President Mahama in the first 2 months, yes, the tutu or Sajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah or Bayasha Semenza ye. In Tinature there, and Sama Bribiama Betna ha Makano. There is Excellency John Dramani Mahama pet. New beer the mabre to beer you will move to Wajiano, Trodo Wabim. Na oime na me the yankopon answers to there. Or can you know because yen and this fo na Ghana fo won who no or money requachu. Ama about support and this and so yankopon and kanwa and ka on ye. Inti Yamina Eden I say, name the Yamina or the yen ashaseno or the anaboku ewie pa. Debia nde nkoma ye bezi wa budget hu mo hiam na mempaibo titira anyi de ehwe nhyehyɛ na nzama owo na nyame yadom no mbo His Excellency John Dramani Mahama no mbo Dr. Kastle Toba force na oyɛ mbrahye begoyi ma good people of Ejumako enyan esiama oben enyan wa ha ifi Ejumako nzukɔ ezeba ma kepu hazi kwanon war ezeba man kesim na sopa na mete hoza na no kyerɛ de anza no mubufu mpa mutu manantew na moko Ejumako nyame nye wo nyina na adom na hyehyɛ papa biara wo magana de bia maka se enya tum de bobuma na ejesuman enye de ebeba ba mamma ho do wa betiri na abahyehyɛ wo calm down yankopɔn be hyiraw na bibia beye bia wa yenhyira nto ay manyije oy ma ho ho a da maka ho na ye make history wa Ghana me say nyame ba ya do my Excellency John Dramani Mahama ne first 4 years here na Ghana wa asena abrochiri I bet
yet obo ndwuma ma wa krabie fa abrocha be ye hu hwe nti wo don't make that promise
and some ma ken edin ama abugbe on father mu baby aza akwa akafa no
say
the mabri under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama yanyim na mo obesin no obi a wala tax finance minister tax awara agi etuma hwe Ghana fu wenyima ye press conference ka kire one there and J tax sorting the man. Let the damn coffee, Sabio, a safe one venchem, Lucy from Po, or you're closer to a than the meaning.
Justice in our capital,
and that, but you mean, Jamie,
a time I made the man the same time, the same time I made the Medasi. Now, Yan show on grand there, one from Pie, one ties, Excellency. All right, Justice in our capital, Medasi. Alright, Abusia, your good idea, your text messages, Fafa 0244 408 046 0244 for all messages in for bra. Na yankano manfre message. Well, good hour from Mr. Manfre message na for bra. And if you WhatsApp 0244743143, my WhatsApp no M4 na text message in for 0244 408 046 0244 408 354 na easy in Komo area on the various issues we are discussing this very afternoon. For all comments and your thoughts for bra. Now dive into the conversation during the budget presentation, government will announce major allocations to key sectors and programs. During interviews, allocation for the Big Push program on here 13.85 billion for no academic fee policy 499.8 million. Sanitary parts for all your female students only 292.4 million. And also about 16 of these allocations and Sika will announce major areas. Justice.
Yes, man.
Maintain on these allocations are why. But one concern has been more raised here. Women's World Development Bank.
Women's Development Bank.
Sorry, your Women's World Bank or Women's Development Bank. Okay. The capital per the banking, also the Sika or the Ashimo is it for preparatory or is for what?
But I say, Major Suman. Yes, first of all, me fa o question. Once and be say. There it is for binum Ghana for binum wobisa the Bank of Ghana no requirement for establishing a bank 400 million, right? And that is depositor as about my Bank of Ghana mo za to ho. Now Bank of Ghana wana onye abanankasa ne sika crab fa anamobwa enti no etefu one task there iyi nya today bia amikodwa apia mete hade menye sika na mepede mobwe bank senti kro namdo ma Bank of Ghana da menhihye no wo ho. In fact before 2017 no 100 million and recapitalization no mama banks bebre what you license if you want say mo sande dudu na wentum wenya dem sika no and mo ya yo ho ya asefim de oye sika eze ma Bank of Ghana mo za to ho enye de oye sika eze ba be hye wo bank no mu nti etefu won task de oya ban ne policy aban nezeba
and say it serves as security anamebwa
iyi nye the reason why it serves as security ni there sa ame a metena hade mepede mbu banka ehwa na se minyi da mbafa no with regulator na se ochena bibibi nya maye that announce mpo de se mentu men raise them sika, it means that menye worthy enough to operate a bank nzan mazentra but Ghana sika Ghana bibi anya abana wana wa eni so oya abaneze enti yes amide obey me do den kasika no bokosuru but I need 51.3 million Ghana cedis onye unsa 51.3 million Ghana cedis unsa bebre dam but dam 400 million issue na we raise no ye ame na wo ye bobo bank na nyi dam sika no de ye na chiru ano na Bank of Ghana obotum waye but ye oyaban na neze na oriye nti mo hia inde abaneze framework na bibia nhihye bibia botugwa iyi no titiri mo hia paaye na nyim de aban krampo obotum abede aban on sheda and create ye wo offices wo mmia bebre ekọ district assembly office wo ho ekọ regional offices aban wo offices obotum we use na the only thing in there ye de layout na baba bibia baba obeye kama ame sisi mo hia man dem say even if aban on so do mon kudu them 400 million to them ankwankrompo bobo bank obeye ya mo support o sande minimama mefu bebre ya wo Ghana ha wozi gwanketenketa se dam bank tumi ba na obeye operational na wanje collateral na interest no so ye lesser obo boost one ma wenya baby agina wenya bi wato ezibanezi wada ahwomba into the argument shouldn't be there or there wenya 400 million and 1 year into aban botum is yi as a start right. And them 400 million no or the or Bank of Ghana or ya aban na or one enchen into aban bokuku them 400 million is boku akọ kama Bank of Ghana don fan to one aban all the them sika no dishem straight no ze ma yema menuma sebi wonyi collateral kaka ji loan na wada ye business ma wetum wenye bi wezi no wenye bi wada ahwe won ba menye problem nti if they are looking at they be a amount ni so enta aba no ntuma menye won ya adwen ba se wo ka dem o sande on do 400 million to the Bank of Ghana no requirement there e be establish a bank or ye that they are getting it wrong. But my mechanic masa, they are getting it wrong on that score. But say, what catch me there? O cost rank when you are beja, coming you are beja. But this is the first time. Yami ya domina framework bibia and yani mame Professor Jena no Pukwajiman mention mame Michelle baby bia will be a mim. This is ya abaye Ghana penus from Kuntin Pempi and Tantina Guaha. Namincha Professor Davis, GES Director General. Mamu uncle Prekope Michian baby bio bia nti daminoti nti yan maame ne office na obohwe na wedi damedwuma no nti mo hia man de what the framework bibi about to form na yan maame no yan sisters amade dem wo be ebieni bia o de se bank o operational a o de mutu mobo wan mo wo so wonya bibi wo do tonaze mo wo do hwe won ba na won kunnom ana one maame no na one papa no very very important into that should not be the case.
Yeah, other locations, you know, 3.5 billion for free secondary education program to ensure access to quality education.
Fantastic.
And in there 564.6 million for comprehensive provision for of free curriculum based textbook for schools.
Fantastic. And in there since 2018-2019 basic schools in Ghana when ya textbooks are and oya who oya sefem there you change and was started BEC and extra BEC results this year which is 2024 nationwide emda no ya
BEC
do you know
nationwide
why? Yeah. The reason is simple. 2018-2019 what change curriculum no since you are in the questioning na bibia no nsesa kakra bem o sane de abannen wanyi basic education do a ma debia wonya kwanya wo betena radio do na TV do a what kind of why free SHS nti o mama won neglect basic school menyu reka say a chechira fumpo a wo ho training na wo da was ma wan training on what was my chechirafo mo gotum watchre new curriculum no krampo or a problem na men kada man say me so me head of department was senior high school yamena domara o sande okubi o fa the titel oye non-governmental organization also senior high school izini muninti amama amide ma training for about 4 times books no about the only aspect or that band provide or your tablet now what year did they in August 2024 Emma TV do ye na you win there was the more from a could go there by October no I distribute a tablet in since you know your problem was senior high school because materials in are online not more from no won't tablet to access them until this is your headmasters na parents as out to na teachers to in there you print them online materials in your in the meantime as aban bohwe na why there say who be here the contract no sa aban otue sika na ma waye TM waye yen laptop na but me kai dem contract ne ba say kan ya me ba mba kan ho asem there ami okaman kotia nkanye dem company na kama support the one for because TM na waye man no sebi wenza amwaye efre teachers 10 me jimizi there enya wo mu 4 wadan wan wo use one TM laptop watu nyen sika bum abanara so se waso do bum sika no waye inti zakaya contract ne ben no I didn't support it missing no that company mo waye ATM no na wobeye mo from anti ATM that is teachers mate na mo from waye SM student mate nse but basing there ye tablet ne baby a owo inti basic schools no oya roho textbooks in your enyim there nka wazi biriba ena wokọ Nicodemusly wakafa comprehensive sexuality education was a bema obebe ye asam wo Ghana ha de wo ba be kire Ghana mebun moframa yemba yenwo fasefo de read them comprehensive sexual education eyina o kire de entum enhye obi biara for ne sexual preference nti say ame me feel there menyi akono sebi o onye kasa papa nti me pere me but mumbo no tofa de minya akono ma besi a na mo akono ma benyina oye me preference. That is the basis of comprehensive sexuality education. The one ankasa ebo hu sexuality, your sexual orientation, ne take wo decision. Da me mpe benyin me pebisia to them abrofo we ya nda ebinum mo pe na we ni nyina kaka ho anintina onam do ma since 2018 no ye den na ya ban abetina do nya wo kotokum sko ame na wo taxes hwe taxes ara MPP aban be yo introduce na nya dem sike nyinara na entum produce textbook and farm basic schools SSD tire mameka ni ye titel a nka no so oye problem titel na wa fa ho ka bibia yakọ workshop na adi nyina ya na allowances ye bibia even GES mpenyinofo a wo babo hwe ya dunia titel osanu tua one allowances inse ma azin say but basic schools na wenya NGO bit the titel ma wenso nemfe no ano na besinde textbooks krampo nyi ho nti a church of na rangaza and 2 weeks ago so me catch there nyamena I was part of the Western and Central Education Forum na ye wo Cape Coast na nyamena adoma ye mu bi ekoi and ye kire na adwen ema final report ne ba wo ho no we reading nti amana obaka the whole Ghana zina abom na nya comprehensive report ye mu bi ye kan the basic school ti a church of owoda ban osanoko na one proper training in the handling of the new curriculum. Into one of the suggestions ye mu bi ye suggest ebe SSNs are on your problem. Basin then and they BBI friend PLC every week be as HOD me lead me department you find topic by topic. But I know crampono ye suggested there it shouldn't be regular there every Tuesday. Osan there the motive and the idea behind PLC professional learning community and in there yedi as a forever today me dey me English language literature and English yedi new curriculum reba nsesa bia nhye da nyim too much bia but it is only the approach first in I today it is more or less our teacher na center of everything but the CCR no the new standard based curriculum it is more or less the student is the center into you become a facilitator until you just introduce the thing to them then you allow them to explore and come back but a good thing for one that is how I say it or a good thing in principle but there should be certain things obabwa me yetum ya ye ni ye nse huma zenete inti sabibit ndamaba mehwɛ me subject area o de mutum da iyi oyaze dada nti hu hia de yabasane ye hia wo ho but azo oya foforo nti se maze foforo de kwan bendo na sisi ya kwa class yebetum ye introduce topic no na ya mama mafama no wenyu age na wetum wa participate na wankasa wa come out with their nti ani de na se ye hia as professionals in the community, in other words professionals in the subject area. It shouldn't be every week, once a month. Another, as and when yesha bibi wa over there, mishia me department members no ye. Inti ya suggestions the by inti bompe there obezi juma. Inti oya sam papa and debia maka say ya banewa say eba form to the level of your people. Na enyuwana kasa enyuwani zinkomo ne tse hwana etumizazeba Ghana I form. And the first time I Ghana started already a form. Yeah, abra NDC Amanyoku 24th August 2024. Yako Winneba North Campus. Yako ready your manifesto. Yako launching your manifesto. Resetting Ghana. Zeo mazinete. Aha yako launching manifesto na ne hude sector by sector everything. Oyaza. And one now what sector hono one inputs no marketing nansen ete ya say bibia ya maamo so mo boy da mazi ya number fi consultation and mo ya forum na ze amampu da me not adwen sebi onyin pa ko ne tirim ena dam azena MPP abane ye de wonte obia nyane ya aka de dam na ye beye nti manye no wo ye tirim ni na ane ende Ghana atwape ma finance minister ose Ghana's economy is a distressed one. Distress nze humazenete nyanya mina duma IMF bema nke wo ICU nze humazenete IMF bemniti
IMF every government bia
for now market first time IMF
no miss make IMF am bema
and 2022 2023 hey na Ghana ha inflation go do December 2022 the inflation could do 24%. Ama ejmayafo ye kwen ye de 30% 2023 anti.
Okay.
Hey. Enti but you mean you na me time asan.
Yeah, we time asan. 50 minutes we time asan.
Enti maximum. Oyaze papa. Na yen education policies no only centered in senior high school or from the crèche preschool up to tertiary and ehwa budget no or cut across baby biara nti nyamena do my textbooks no ya ze papa
all right
na enyim de azekura bani woye ya wa cripple ana baba ss na ya kan wanse mana ni na kan
say me mention ni nyina free
yes enyim de get fund ehun de
uncapping the get fund
get fund a cap bibia a limiting a restricting there get fund or your tax professor J.A. Mills yankopon fani krensie ne nyisuadze hu onye get fund law no was passed in 2000 when Professor Mills was vice president of the Republic of Ghana ne boteo sine nyu odan there over finance education it can be classrooms, it can be feeding, it can be dormitories, it can be buses and what have you. MPP are banning kutin bay what's the no semunya 400 million Mark Shamuda mon spend only 100 million. Na mon fan kaine mam na men call appoint 126 ministers. Na men fan top V8, na men fan one, na men call top private jet. Na men de. Say who mazinete.
President Akufo-Addo what a private jet o dem.
Yeah.
What a private jet.
Uncle rent, high. Private jet. Say who mazinete. Akone ze men fan kan ho. Say who mazinete. Nti a cap as a limiting. One of the ways and these are manyoku ye baya ma ya finance free SHS ma why ye better to the CCI ma from wo sausage wo di nchefua wo di abna rice ma wenyu age ma school aye fontom man na isi school I was mahama na NDC why ni na bebe de mosnara nyim
yes is better
cap na sika no ye da ye oil na ye support free SHS oil no ye sustainable a time is coming oil no botum wasan ne prices so kofoma yenye sika kese but yemma you get fund na oil you know nzama bi wo ho at there scholarship na nzama bi wo ho a hu hia no ya limited do na ya the beshem na yemma feeding especially because senior high school azo how free SHS azo how adwene ho an feeding ma yenya dam dedicated source of because of your tax since 2000 yetua nto ho de bia yetua sika ne ba abane ya ne dama obenye sika na abribia is the feed yamba na yen wo fa asefo a feeding wo SS on your problem.
Let us say Justice Inokapia Reverend.
Yes,
yes, about 16 points, another 16 allocations for President Waye.
16 allocations, 1 per 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 1
well, we used to 20 minutes. I was here. I was watching the time. Yeah. Okay, the whole time I was you still went 4 minutes more.
Me too.
Yo, ready, man. Say, I would have wished the day in chair, my brother Justice Apia, being on the side of the government. Na Orekese, at least by now, in chair Obohugana Fumobono was sparing the propaganda. Yes. You see, say a war oppositioner, Sebi Mosme Eka Wensemino, they were telling us that when we were in power, Yari Hinadi as if we were in opposition. Ntina Ghana fu in Arishade in Che NDC Waba Benemi, they would have brought a new narrative in their bid there were reset Bribiara. Quite unfortunate. almost everything now worry here, now worry can is a repetition of that dono. So the best they would do in the you're building on the Madi and now there you're son ya nature with the Madi home. And I don't think that it amounts to a reset any day. Share. And na budget here already. I am surprised there as a Ghanaian. As a crown immersion because you're in there will challenge with water purification. And Bira, yes, gold mining, nazi or say there would be clear indication of allocation. Yes, about fight Galamsey in the best of it. The budget was silent on it. And as Timemino, what drew because Yenya Bana, they were committed to the fight against Galamsey to the extent today. At some point, Galamseyers were not even comfortable. But Memufi na ya general crowd say in your corner for double boy let us go. But Yako back to Abana, no indication of a fight against Galamsey. Chada working in around this Aban. No, no keke. This budget has really exposed a clear intention. The my brother Justice in this Aban has no interest in the Ghana's purification process as far as in water bodies and water system is concerned. Ma Kenya now semi the NPP according to Ato Forsen also would badze and almost badze kind of economy. I am shocked. Shock I mean any day. Look, under Akufo-Addo, namuni anom NDC fui. Work there, the allocation to the presidency was too huge because presidency won impa bebre wo ho, and under their tenure, NDC will be reducing the number of people at the presidency. In Chamber, expected in reducing the number of people at the presidency, no, sika woricha. Now what that the presidency wono obey a lowered amount than Sika Akufo-Addo or the Bogana Hobra. But I mean inversely, NDC today were spending. Please, I mean from your budget as a source. What's other source? What other source? The NDC is spending over 70 million today, capital expenditure to the presidency. And us against 327 million. Please. I mean 70 billion. Don't interrupt me. You are not the host. Go back to your budget and read. Justice. Go back to your budget. Please, Justice. Erika Sanamatiha, I was listening to you. I respected you.
Ben, let's talk. Justice also for all figures in the area.
Yes, the budget. My shock is that the NDC today, work in the will reduce numbers, we're spending about 5 times the amount and the NPP had the presidency. Look at our friend and May constituency MP. The amount or ministry, I mean the Ministry of Government our friend and communication. Or for Suko Parliament, there are just about 5 people in Yandama. Just about 5 people. As against us Akufo-Addo in the time, there were about 70 people there. But in the America say, check the value of money or 5 people in one same. And if indeed it was 70 against 5, and the 5 are spending more than the 70 does it not raise question with the value for money? Does it not? Justice Atiha, that the NPP left a sort of economy. And this is what the NDC is doing today in government. In our propaganda about this book allocation and other funding, what the school share and the NPP. Here no focusing in the share Ghana ya ye nwumasuano achrawamba na brofo enfi pepepe bebrea enfa so odebra here no oye kumabi nti under Akufo-Addo here no motive wasn't just books keke here no motive in there na yemfa junior high school no my friend basic school no yemfa nkom mabronyi baka the STEM education centered science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Look at the capital expenditure, capital value you're spending on this program of getting the basic school to rise to the standard of STEM education. And the NDC has taken us back to the era. Yerson Bay book. And NDC is proud. And I'm origin there. Abandoning Jumana no original and Chorobo Ghana no. On any day, in Chenda, NDC will spare Ghana of this propaganda. Now I build on STEM education. Na mami Zeneberuko Skura. Why you proud of them most of China? Where you home Messiana and the China about frackety. Or to me your phone. Ma Ghana penyin or kokotono. Ghana so you do them pempendono. And better like books. And you are proud. You are proud of the Ghana ni Boko school. No akocha no be fear. Sabi milk konkompo or run to me shishe. This is what NDC is taking us. Eje suman inye resetina. The other propaganda or yana matia maintain bokoms na justice of all people. Justice today about placing the value of books against the value of science, technology, engineering, mathematics ana. Justice, you're a teacher. I want you to answer. About placing it too no more than Kaobafa.
So do you think this allocation Abanaya Kono is not much needed?
You see, my American there, it is an allocation now. That Masa, share may spend this score on BBRA. More share the value at the end of the day. And I'm a Nyami interesting that Merma Sikanko Keke. Nemum Adas Sikanero Kaye. Nanum Faswa or Manus Baden Obenya. Because Nina your man Nisika. Into some spend this cowards and one. In yada Merma Sika Koham Obiaka there, Medidamiskia Kohan, no here. Nemo Morsha there or Chinabi, say in Wumasio a corner marble para da. Na abani and now many so or China on Subenyefu. Into yada young from Uncle School, I say 2024 results no bad. You didn't even give any source, you didn't give the results, but I can't track it. Ada was shots where is 2018. And yet only 1 year to condemn Ada 5 years consecutive and more. Why achieve with success? Justice, ever propaganda. Oracle Women's Bank and Wasam. I felt today, ka justice obenye humo borama hinkakra. Even when Erica Chene there should be a minimum deposit with the central bank. Them rubber ya, sabi, oyene biara to me see. Because the Women's Bank, no, on yet just a bank that is to be attached to another or an existing bank or a whole new institution were created and it falls under all other banks statutory. It is a justice. If you don't know, I'm telling you, go and read. It is a big catch them there. Oh no, or a banner in the bank. It's a banner in the bank. In this, if we are no there, Bank of Ghana and Pua Abokawa. A woman, a kadam time now. I was here propaganda for almost 4 months. In that regional catcher and your banner in the bank. So you don't care the minimum value or that banner in the bank okum on any day Ghana under President John Ajekum Kufuor. Bira yenya Maslok. Eje Suman, what was the purpose of Maslok? In Mebun na in Barton, Wotumwa says a loan, sometimes at a minimum interest or no interest. Nanka wadash wunejum. Under NDC, said them tamakulunum. In the word Zisika. Under John Dramani Mahama, all must look nimu. Imande said I'm tamaklu. Washishana won hunumpo, no are 7 jail term. Today, what they sabi, and that day you are coming to tell us a women's bank. The women's bank and also you are not ready even to deposit a minimum amount. Which is to say then, what it is to Mwaderable Bank na no bra. And shall loan in our worker, the order of Abaten Humpono. Abaten may struggle to get it or not get it. But NDC is not even seeing that. Ma ordinary they yakade yabe them banking and yariye. But Sikaro Kohono, he doesn't care. Meanwhile, Shesika water ministries are Akufuado. 3 ministries Sika and Cho there Okohonuno in there under 1 ministry, John Dramani Mahama. You are spending that. Justice, are you aware in the budget already? Yakaka bakache do MPP for yaka da masemi nti yaba enumpo consultation hu hia wana na okechore consultation hu hia time NDC workers for agriculture ho eje suman you and I together with justice ne ye wa ha yerite hon bra osi in August woko ready one manifesto among the many lies NDC in opposition then na worker kire hen there even the cocoa buying prices Akufo-Addo and the NPP government was cheating Ghanaian cocoa farmers. So on any day, if they were to come to power, what they would do is that the value on cocoa purchases in Ghana shouldn't be in the minimum of about 6,800. In fact, don't baby put was 9,000. One of the values are John Dramani Mahama of Osukwachi and the then minority leader Ato Forsen. Now what out the power only that 6,800. My brother Justice, are you not in a shame to notice there a budget of the country that is to reflect all these things was almost silent on that?
So this allocation, allocation
yes,
to government machinery.
Exactly. So you can read it to him. Also win. You see, and this is what has happened in the country.
So quote the total sum.
I can't read from your place. I'm reading from the budget from my book. And so you can quote, if you are reading from your source, you can also read 11 expenditure to the presidency. Compare
office of government machinery.
Yes. See the amount there and make a comparison with the days of Akufo-Addo and this 4-year whole propaganda. So today, if Ghana rukoneyim on let's say tablet, tablet asema, in 2011, when Okujoto Ablakwa was the deputy education minister Mobwa, yes, around that time, 2013-14, John Dramani Mahama. Oh yeah, now you know that Ghana would have gone them technological advancement as far as textbooks were concerned into the piloting of digital tablets. Nadi John Dramani Mahama na time no proposal until he expected there. If NDC Fuya and the Waba Benmi will fail, they will implement the margin. Nana Nadu Danko Akufo-Addo Abba to begin the piloting and the implementation. Sabi. So when we yempo na Ghana for say man penyin Akufo-Addo wedwuma abewie yi nanso ye akuhanyim no yama John Dramani Mahama nsumbo wie na edwuma ketekete na os wa kanti Ghana fu hu no mobile no fama no
4 years edwuma ketekete a
njadam na oreka na nyadam ami merkot no os wa kan edwuma kakra na odo ye nti dem na edwuma ketekete na os wa kan nke yade modern bank agency man what proposal what agenda the air digital in the rebo condemn da Akufo-Addo na tablet nimpo wa bro your proposal entumanye enya kwenya ba banim wa asemi that we should go back to books. The value is really a retrogression. Ejesuman, to me as a youth, the value is a retrogression.
So the primary level when you exercise book and government ultra allocation to the primary for oil exercise.
I spoke to that in relation to our new branded STEM education. That you see, if on any day Meberico school, I mean from the primary level.
But at one government, and what was the provision for the primary?
Oh, of course, in education, the primary had always been provided for. Beyond them propaganda or Harry, as if the government made no plans. Was it not on the NPP that we had school feeding and all that? These are all educational funding.
So when you exercise books throughout their period?
Oh, no government. In fact, in the history of Ghana, no government has provided in a linear. There are challenges at times. But if NDC, but what we are saying is that the value of education, say yenya roadmap be that the mean and Chagana Yeroko. Nas yenya bana na day because let's say there was a shortage of books. In implementing a value be or the books rebano or na fi roadmap no momodwa. Is it not rather a retrogression? Because this is a Ghana that is thinking of transiting to technologically based education. Watch out, Asibia. Inti onye da Merberuko school na wa fa book na no brofo show. Afi ma no hwe a ontumi nye na Ghana ye pedi etinem. So dem ne ye pedi etinem da nti onye da this what to do reset da. It should rather have been going back to the old days. Na nche yin abrofo ho abere no. A wo be kire Ghana nyi na onka brofo chabe nche Nigeria yin. Nanso urban business and Nigeria in Cordon. But
the technology based in education, this current administration only through and away through.
I mean, so you can check the allocation. Now with the Nyama Ohia and John Dramani Mahama would have rather invested much, he's investing lower. Now, mom, he's taking us back in Nyama Ohia because his mentality in there, he is a communications expert.
Ben, I mean to us because you were driving on technological based
education, which Akufo-Addo had champion.
That from SS Yamo on a tablet.
Yes.
Whereas I will free Abenum the tablet or initiating or yes student in upon the winner.
Yes.
No, school okay, our young fan or
propaganda to American.
Because
justice. If you were the host, I would have applauded you.
I believe that some of the schools, not entire the whole nation. So maybe now even the tablets were initiative were push and call the technological level no crampono. You couldn't fulfill all.
We couldn't fulfill all. So what should have a new government done? Please. Please. What should have a new government done? A new government please, justice.
But Ben,
a new government
are you also aware that the previous administration focusing on the SHS, the primary level, the JHS level, they were also suffering. They were not suffering.
Please, let me say something.
Say something.
You remember after the many propaganda when the venerable Pratt spoke on education. Wow, I have seen something under the education system because all this while, people were free SHS. But when Kwesi Pratt, went on the ground, the investment, even in infrastructure, at the various levels, was so superb. And this was a man who had, of course, in Ghana, we know him. His vehemence in speaking, especially in the interest of the NDC, has been so apart. But he attested to what Akufo-Addo was doing in the field of education across the various levels.
But Ben, the investment with regards to infrastructure is one thing. And then also supplying the needed
how would you describe the logistic technology? These are infrastructure capital based. And in America, when we say infrastructure, it doesn't only mean the buildings and others. The students need some machinery to advance. Mm-hmm. And our motive, yes, you know that. Now, technology, how would you call it? You only call it a device. You know, in technology, it is called infrastructure and Portugal. You see, so we would have wished, Justice, you can go and Google about it. If a government, today Mahama, or any motive on any day, was it not the priority of Mahama that he said he was going to even prioritize it to the point of at that time rolling out a pilot process? The pilot process and you claim that Akufo-Addo no botu nti na ntumanye. Nti sa Akufo-Addo aba na the margin wa shase na wenwie pay as a government and what them vision must you take Ghana back?
So you don't have to. Do you think they taking Ghana back?
Yes, it's a take of Ghana back, and you understand.
I believe
I
don't get it.
Okay, let me make it easier for you.
I don't get it.
Let me make it easier for you. Most of the things you research and tell us here on this platform, you do that through your mobile phone, right?
Yes.
It is a device you have, a device in your hand. We think that the value of one student, a tablet, or these books and information, and at any point, even accessing a particular information from this tablet is easier than flipping the pages of the book.
Right now, as we speak, the students do not have this tablet.
If that is the roadmap, and let's say one government has not been able to achieve all, should that not be the priority of the succeeding government? Must we rather go back into ages, man? At the end of the day, Yankaya books and Yansan Bodum Pempen here tablet. Na John Dramani Mahama na aban naso. No de SN Kofi bio na aban foforoba. Na yasana beshase. De bia na Ghana shasana. We should be bold as Ghanaian leaders and progress. So on Chidama, in the original say something is equivalent to Kwame Nkrumah Abredo, man or I mean, we should be ashamed. We should be ashamed there. And then my brother Justice Oracle today. Kwame Nkrumah no catch in the backward never, forward ever no. Ghana is confident to say that we are going back to that era.
On average, how many tablets were you able to supply?
Oh, if that is the argument we are doing, we should be able to provide facts because you can check from the Ministry of Education.
Because you believe that this current administration will draw us back in terms of higher education and AE. But I mean, my point I'm doing there. I will push forward.
I think you are skewing the argument. We are debating on a budget. budget allocation.
Yes,
and we are saying that
and I'm
if a
asking
government is allocating limited funds to Ada Wabe and national interest any day, that even a previous government had so much focus. In spite of the focus, we have had challenges.
And that is why I'm a pedal made to say, because the allocation are all made to that level. The thing is not there. That was why the allocation was made. If there's a dino hompo and on ye enough and I will revert you to other thing and then Quebec will push them back. But as we speak now.
So what new thing has Mahama done?
So that the children should be there just like that.
No, you see, you are not even getting the point. Why not okay,
because
in the days
your argument, I don't understand.
Who deceived Ghanaians there? In the days where there were no tablets, there were no books. There was nothing like a book to those schools. Ebakaya, one of the debut things we did as a government was that, look, besides yen focus, you shift the teachers on how they draw their weekly activities now. Let us also support these students with textbooks, because at that level, the shift from literally based education not complete. So students were so successful even with the use of books. Man, this for now Akufo-Addo is spending more money in buying a po because of when past questions are not. So they were light books. And see, that propaganda of as if there were no books at the basic school, it's not true. It is not true.
All right, Ben Medasi. Okay, I was basing my argument on where you raised the argument to. That was why. My member, my message is in the 0244 408 046 0244 408 354. This is a Britain record into for removal of taxes, for boxing my
but you order me another 10 minutes now, because
mama just 5 minutes
20 minutes my brother Emosina muhu assembly awakon. Look, and look at the way he is suffering in even advancing his own point. The issue is that what STEM education, it does not mean that, and even the STEM education, MPP we invest in, no two ways about that. On your basic school, or your senior high school, and we have less than 10 schools in Ghana where your STEM schools are about 4. It's only in Ashanti region alone. Minister Nukrum, I know what they shall say. Zenwa Bosomtri, Zenwa and worker STEM, there, and textbooks. One kind of textbooks are what they senior high school for. Or your textbooks are basic school. 2018-2019. Why call training actually training power work crampo is the man more be news in poor Ghana kaya at a time. It say can be na ye debate MPP fu na why confused. O son aban papa waba o think for sentiment no so look, when we were going into election 2024, provision of tablet for senior high school was not the major priority of Ghanaians at the time. I'm telling you. And as it be and this Amanyoku by first budget won't devote sika for on the surface, it means that the Mazano on Yaza Ghana for one number one priority. In any case, fight against can say Abani Bank, no your budgeter, or by budget. Listen, budget line, MPP, what by throughout. One my budget line there, fight against Galam said we have sector ministries and departments. And who the margin look over the weekend. Joint operations by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and the Ministry of Defense.
Well, Western North.
Forest, Western North and then Ashanti region, part of Ashanti region. Operational way and Minister of Defense, one more strong warning, especially even to NDC activists, as some of whom are in your report today, where constituency executive. Watch it binum, one strong warning there. If they don't know, what peda way Galamsea, and then they will see
constituency executives were also involved in it.
Erastus, no report be or indicate there. Some known party executives at the constituency level are involved. The issue is that the fact there, minister one kade 1.5 billion to fight galamsey does not mean there's no budget allocation for fighting galamsey.
Yes.
So iti mpocho senti bibiasa to bunesuam. Look, 2020 yakoto aba. Ye 2020 na MPP aba won promise the Obama a tablet to the schools. So yazo ohia Ghana for nkoto aba ma MPP mo oye. Azo ohia Ghana for number one. Stabilization of our cedi currency, price volatility. Or sign for businesses and zamano boku kosroma ohia na hocher bi won't mean ye bibia woman and yazo ohia number one. Etume to the man among today in Zama His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was start ori. Look, okay bibi there, say Office of the President. I enlist in Port Sanford to 900 million. A whole compensation na bibia omo. Only first one. And compare that. And go. This is 2025. Mopocho provide President
President. So compare the figures.
Which year is that?
With the lane government, compare the figures. 2024.
Office of Government Machinery.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 326. Anna, Yanko 326, Yanko 2025. Then we'll go back to 2023, then we'll check. And then 2025, we have 2 million. Okay. Oh no, 1 year machine. No.
Oh yeah, we tell.
Okay, so this is 2 million.
Yes.
Then let's go back to 2023.
I said let's go back to 20.
Yeah. But it is there. That thing is there.
Don't worry. But let's do this comparison because you promised lean government.
Yes.
So with this lean government, let's say if you are touting as government with huge let's say allocation to government machinery or for missing wordina. How do we contrast this?
No. You see, a kade ne allocation. NDC Abani Aba first one, and this is the first time NDC Abani first budget. So for us to know, listen, you see, we are doing intellectual argument. For us to get the proper allocation to Office of Government Machinery is 2017 one first budget. Compare.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Yeah, you see, do you know why? No. It's not about my.
Ben.
Ghana you be over Ghana habia. Ghana you be over Ghana habia. And me mo scenario ya aware. So your reverend and pa. Onyim. Obiara nyime there. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Bay. Naban and Zama Wakofum. Look, in last year, MPB Aban and yeah what 300 and something. What the Kwano was spending 15 million. What is he? Got a 6 match kakebia. And this Aban Sika in Spain did this 6 match. Into the issue. Everything is clear. But just keep quiet and listen to the lecturer.
Allow you.
For us to know the allocation, don't use the last government because was started from baby. No, first budget of President Akufo-Addo. Oh yes, this is first budget of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. No, men can't hear poor. Said to compare. No, yeah, major to more consider. Oh, man. Argument are made many there. President Akufo-Addo by NPP or by President 2017. Is that not it? The first budget. Give me allocation for Office of Government Machinery. So, less than 2 million over here. Mapacho. Na ma pagana fu ina cho there is Excellency John Dramani Mahama we Ghana fu yambo but so until the monko team never use 2024 ebe use 2024 last year of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo ni 8-year term wa say Ghana economy wa ko IMF ama IMF what the debt exchange program about to mambre wa funa nkokrafa wa ma abani sikara from bobranu okom luku mo wowu ama Dr. Michael Ejekuma-Addo we are sana year to about 2024. You can't use that to compare and say that because what costs in 2024 ninety or chada abani babo waste. In any case, government
but we are comparing.
On an argument. We are comparing. And per 2024 and to 2025 and this year. I was so saying, I could 300 and something, I could 2 million. But for us to do proper argument, the argument is simple. President Akufo-Addo be president 2017.
Yes.
Compare 2017, the no the my assignment me zamo. Na me so was oh. Na oti machine echi. My argument here and there be no Ghana for are not interested in comparing even President Akufo-Addo. Oh yes, that is not the argument. Ghanaians mo in there. Budget na abazu no woman.
All right.
Or your life changing.
Okay.
Or your life changing. And in Zama bebre look textbooks look I me church you me started the me charge was SS me started the me charge was SS 2011 look tell me bia me share basic school mo from especially abandoned school mo reho aban one neglect one for far too long
so in 2017 Ghanaian government allocated 456.25 maybe 456.25 million for capital and operating expenditure.
No.
Including maybe.
The office of the president, allocation to the office of the president. It is a hunidama on your onubia. Oh yes, our office 2024 the office of the president.
Make an admin interior. So excluding worker related costs for a specific program with an additional 1 million Ghana cedis specifically approved for ministry activities which was part of the office of government machinery.
He explanation can you na bom me pere kan you na bom okay come back bom onye 2 billion 2 million onye billion onye million onye
2.1 billion
2.1 billion. I was not 2.1 billion.
Yeah, just better say.
No, enya the me na mamo. Number 1, 2. Us no biara nka there consultation revenue team for your former deputy minister or grantee interview or kada.
You are lying, please. You never said that.
Hey, Razi.
But more fancy mama
just a minute.
Just a minute, fancy mom.
Enti ose education forum here or your waste of time and resources. As a man team for your kind.
Education forum, what has been the
all right. Just may I say Ben. All right. Every time I mean, can message Ben here ready to speak into men can or none receive. Men can messages in it being a young queen in him. Good afternoon, Mr. Rose. Why we Ghanaians hate ourselves? God wants JDM to lead us to the promised land by Amate in Elmina. Okay, Amate. Ben,
yeah, AJ Suman. I think at this level, Ghana, Nibiara, while witnessing a series of governments, what Henry Jumedino, to them, McKenna, the person will be in a shock. And shock can be my brother, NDC, Narankasa. The moment, me had reaction. The moment, already, I don't know. Already, please, we are all witnessing, looking at you. The moment already, from budget, near machine, because comparatively, Ada Akufo-Addo spending just 371 million, and this 40 hey, Abani Shesika presidency, no other care than, and this by ways no moho anan. What I call beer was say. Impekua wo presidency na ahwan watu do na watu do mpo na wode no ho mmoho anan wode akwi na wode koropia ka ho da nche ba de na wode be Ghana fo. Justice, are you not ashamed? Why should I be ashamed? 2, justice say on fa 2025 and compare 2024 now what's Akufo-Addo Ninyama say Ghana I could gem Ghana about 2025 abaye west esi yemfa compare 2017 Akufo-Addo ba power na say ehwe na say 2017 de no oye I mean lesser than Mama Hama wabo the mukoya ibobo we say Mama Akufo-Addo please ibobo we say Mama Akufo-Addo na aka kire John Dramani Mahama there John Dramani Mahama edi Ghana hwamo. The truth is reasonably, Ghana Ibiara will betray the argument or whether justice is just buying an excuse. You are buying an excuse. Because 2017, the inflation is what Koduma Ghana, yen or friend then city to dollar ratio, why impact on my dollar now higher than any in Pombai. In the question part would even be much lesser and lesser. Into what you should have been. How do I know? No, read it, or do you want to accept?
No, when we do, read this.
Now you go to your phone and also check because we are all here. You see, now the argument was what? Ebisane there on Konka Bribinfa tax exemptions. No. Obatina had the first propaganda he did was that the NPP opposition is saying there they never collected or friended then a betting tax. Please, on any day, Ghana Ibiara knows that, for instance, NDC Kade, which are emission tax, Ghanaians were not taxed to pay, even though it was something that was under discussion. Please, let me talk. Justice. Abaka Chayende, when you know as an educated person that them, for instance, such a tax was not under collection. Now, under the lottery taxing, there was one tax on the betting itself, the lottery itself. Staking a lottery came with a tax. And this is not a new tax. It had been paid under Mills, paid under Mahama. Then it came to Akufo-Addo when you are staking a bet. Now, there was a value, we'll raise the value, 10%. Then there was a discussion on withholding tax on bet wins. And the two taxes are different. Now, the second one, the withholding tax on bet wins, had not been implemented in the collection of it. And if the former finance minister, Bakachero, never hear propaganda there,
it had been taken. Tax on what?
Bet wins.
Bet wins.
Yes.
Which one? Because the former finance minister was confused with the lottery and then the
betting tax. Yes. Exactly.
So, but the betting is
why do you say was confused with?
Oh, because can you maybe in boom and one you cry about
and that is what I'm explaining. Okay, you maybe I don't get you right. You can put me right and then it's a free tea.
Because you the betting are electronically.
Exactly.
Or what to as what your bet
when you are staking.
Yes.
Good.
On what to?
Yes.
And then the lottery aspect, because they wouldn't have the mechanism like the bets and a watch no phone.
No, even in the staking, the lottery, even in the staking, there is a tax that is collected.
And even the agency, the company now what share the tax, not
the government.
The government as what? The betting or the lottery company now or gaming,
yes.
I want to share those taxes.
Sure.
Yes.
No, I think the concern is not with what the lottery companies pay. We are talking about what the Ghanaians had to pay.
Yes.
Because on no year concern to the Ghanaian. My lottery companies will share their means of But so I don't see where justice must come in to say that the finance minister was making an argument which he doesn't understand. Please, what is share? But at the end of the day, me as a Ghanaian, so catch him that this government's first budget. Omompa yemfane damara because at the 2017 one there is nothing in this budget at the 2017 one or better than 2017. No, please. We can go that debate. But in central message my fair amona because FE 2024 about 2025 area 2025 as was standard on year 2017. No, justice what argument not shred please. What else was standard on year 2017? Now, Yerke, a suman.
At the office of the government machine. That's the only thing I've said.
No, comparing. I mean, now, even with that, you are going west.
Now, what am I? The performance on 41%.
Oh, look. So say if you budget the election, the reason Ghanaians gave you over 53% is because justice, propaganda, no more. The reason Ghanaians gave you this vote, it is because you lied to Ghanaians today. When you come to power, please, you know this. When you come to power, Akufo-Addo sika or spend bi wo him or spend bi wo ha presidency nkotin hwe sika odere ko Akufo-Addo spending na is or spend bi wo him or spend bi wo ha ne dom bebrebe no ebe ya awose wudom kuma na ensu sika spending no or ye Akufo-Addo spending no and for the record in moho anan justice into me debate kadamade no ho asem kadamade no ho asem kan ho asem a isi en kan ho asem the boko compare 2017 what unfair justice unfair. So the argument is so simple. John Dramani Mahama has disappointed the Ghanaian voter. Yes. John Dramani Mahama has disappointed the Ghanaian voter. About that they go me there. Erko parliament. Erke kanasam. Nasa ko parliament. Echa kete za me teacher ide ono nje 10%. Na Mahama neje monko presidency no no. Aman 400%. Wutrim ye. Aban Mahama wutrim ye. Teacher ina ketua, odwuma ina ketua, wan fa tane pe mfa nka ho. Mahama na ne presidency Morocco hono won bo ho ekor 400%. Nya 100 mpo. Eresrew. Na wi abaka kyen there. My Akufo-Addo ye no was worse. Justice say eka there eba pachew akyerega for there. My John Dramani Mahama or ye no nya. You better say it because the record has exposed you. And I think you should eat the humble pie. Na enkanche Ghana for the nnyim but what project it to Kastle FM if ready na afi so budgeting be the way him man pretend they win where so extra budgeting ma e concede there Sana Mahama or spend so much on my honor the few ministers few government leaner government than Akufo-Addo either Akushitondo there it was so many ministers and so many elephant size government so elephant size government is car spending uswasin awolin government who's car spender non wa bura bobody ye kukuru mponyi ye kukur mponyi na ye de boss ye ho
very much may I say ebusama mumwe ya homari ntum na won so bremi bi would wanted to do the other topics but every remind no can you be do one time but then me peda more time NPP they think they were wiser than Ghanaians 5 minutes. Okay. One 5 minutes. No, that 5 minutes wouldn't do. but 5 mama for 4 minutes. 4 minutes na yanko. 4 minutes.
Na
just do 4 minutes mama na yanko.
Neda yanko na do ma we ready budget no Ghana ha bia. Look, even MPP fo. You see, sometimes I know my roho. There, my brother Amos Obotum Obetina ha no beka there because allocation to office of the government oya ketua or my president Mahama and the ministers. Look, you see. No.
Oh, Ben, 4 minutes.
We can make the argument there. Yes, we promise, and you started it. Oh no, fantastic. That we promise lean government. Inti expect there and allocation to the office of the government machinery.
It will reflect. Mm-hmm.
Look, do you know that Galamsey fight is under office of government machinery? Oh no, say.
Oh Ben, please.
Oh, market and the Akufo-Addo when you are. So do you know inti ne propaganda na akofwi sem na obedi wa ha there.
Galamsey fight is under government machinery.
Oh yes. So yeah, security enwa skirmishes and no one shut down locate one ma budget line there you use the mazi there the mazi it's only 1 2 are you aware the 24-hour economy is in the office of the president? Are you aware?
24-hour economy.
24-hour economy. So mazinete your presidential advisor in charge of that. Oh yeah, Honorable Guzi Tano.
Yes.
Office of the government machinery. Look, in charge of 24-hour economy.
Yes.
Inti damenzame yina ka ho 2 million and why allocated to the office
2.1 billion.
and now why allocate to the oil million or a billion to the
oil million
to the office office of the government machinery.
It's oil billion and oil million.
I won't do to her. That's all I have.
Father to I didn't feed that. Father to
office of the government machinery.
Green one
24-hour economy
and see million and a billion.
1 2 3
billion.
2 billion. That is what is there. 2 billion. No problem. That is what is there. And make sure match on your, I don't know, per the table. That is
2 points.
Oh,
2 points.
you have gone to school. You can also read.
2 points.
Into more here in there.
Code the figures in there.
More here in there. More here in there. I mean, the BMS mama can there. This is allocation, and I'm one. Do you know the agent man? Over to my bumper there by the end of the year. Now ban on spending security nama. Are you aware?
Okay.
This is projection and this is estimated amount a ban pedo or spend based on Nzama ban pedo. Ghana for do now not talking about either 2 billion or so. Do you know why? Say no. Oh, when Ghana for but what's in there? Oh, yeah, but that is not my focus. Because my focus in there, abazina ban beye, my free SHS why better. From January ZB, about wamba SS when improvement in feeding in the senior high school.
Okay.
Wamba was in chair forwards is ban papa. That is number one.
All right.
There Ghana and the monotuna and Shishaya Banezerba textbooks are basic schools being from 2018 abesin there aban zibiru koho. Are you getting a point? And ban lucha
4 minutes is up. Ben, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Let me tell you. Ben, 4 minutes.
What's more there? I feel what the Yamabiako presidency, you know, as if then there in the forefront was in Yamabiro kosher under presidency. Share my brother Justice. Oh, yeah, that Wahabo says here. When oh, now what result?
Why are you confusing somebody?
Hey, just man, figure yara no quote here.
Oh, so what to do?
Moanusi.
81 minutes is here. Yanko.
I picked a statement from ne comment and Remeki. And me pede me be sense so okanya. Remember the NDC say obotuma abade. Your allocation keke. A be a finpo boson na ban spending. Is it to say the allocations are why ye dako the various ministries, road, agriculture, afi boson na ban on spending them trivialize and keke de or your allocation ana. Please, Miribisa.
When someone is making
Obi Kasa, you can
you know
Justice.
MPP from 2017.
Justice, please
allow him.
Meda say into Miribisa wo. Sika where trader what about call or friend women's bad no. It means afi boso na them can put one fan quite or that Ghana for. Into obotum wa broda. Mo government presidency, I mean presidency a different it's a horrible defense.
Because
Akufo-Addo go room. Akufo-Addo ye na ni na end this fat na aka. Ebeya. Eri ya Akufo-Addo ye no mbo ho anan.
Look at the argument.
Is it please justice? You look at you. Look at you. Look at you.
The money at the office.
Mama is wasting it already. You are saying let Mama waste it.
What does it?
Mama is wasting it. You are paying lesser people. You are paying lesser people. Lesser people. If you want to car. If you want to car in Padodo, impona abandoned on farmer one. Are you not wasting it? You are telling me what?
Comparing this to renting.
Please.
All right.
Their propaganda no save you today.
Okay. Save you. All right. Ebusha, what's your brain? I mean 0244408046 0244408354. We have 50 minutes to hit 5. Mintil elho. Yeah. Okay. Good evening. Yes, sir. Come into. Kuyanko enenim.
Kwade Nado go nsura ama be Nado go nsura go rima. Ewa ada wo ma be na wa ya tumi de go rim. No so say no kwade.
Oji tum de go rim de wa hemfa.
Ama be no nja ya yu na nsu gudade.
Ewu de nsuru gudade.
Eye no gba nsuru gudade. Ku ya na ka wa. Abi what do you go so they go take care of them.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Alaji, assalamu alaikum.
me pacho me being the la Richard Aholo me kasa free me san.
Oh, okay.
The
all right. Dela, me too.
Yeah. Mona Juma and Brain, my idea. Now, me pacho, you can clearly see that the MPP man is struggling too much just because of suitable statement, economic statement read as budget yesterday. It means there from free education on Mancasa was what they buy. From feeding to textbook. It's what the BBA top and the budget statement, you know. BIA doing. BIA, and this MPP man, why confused? Oh, they'll continue be confusing themselves.
All right.
Now, I bet our Obama government party 30 years plus.
All right. But I say, Della, good evening. Efo. All right. Efo, me too. Nyami adum 10 seconds, me too. Won't do or your budget allocation. Yes, you can we are. Please, you can't say that. All right. May I say? Okay, for me, I say. Good evening. Yes, sir. All right, I will 10 seconds. Me too.
MPP communicators. We are Botarama excellency. Who to Moncope, Akufado, Fanco, excellency, on cry. On see. Because MPP are banner bro boy nyebi atisiala what the Akufado but to John Mama no excellency yes round. We are Botar Nanda Mapa excellency go akwem atisiala magana for shushan na watson. Utumama much no na won kansem bia onyim onfa nche Ghana for madase
Maso medase Papa, good evening.
Good evening.
Empacha nyame adum empacha won so
Eminadum no so mu ye papa ai asem bana ya nkyerɛkyerɛ mu aya na ka no waye bibia ho sika wadere ko presidency this time ya waye asemi emi nkyɛmatwen wada kwana afisi sei no na yare ka de sika bebebe a wadi koi san wadi tua nyimpa kaw san wadi ye damadi ana ada wadi ye biara amfasa amba ho no ene yare ka enye nyimpa dodo no wadi ko tua wan kaw dwumadi a wadi kadiri ne yanhwɛ de abra dwuma ne wadi kadi ne yenya ho asampa bi sa omampanyiri bi ba na ɔbɛyɛ bibi na yɛ dwende wɔrekɔ wie sika wɔreyɛ dei ɛna ɔkyɛ hiara no yɛrepae hia ho da yɛyɛ ɔman anaa dɛ yɛde ha no de hyira yɛn ho dɛ ɔnyɛ yei na yɛn so yɛn ho ntɔ yɛn medase ma na esi
maso medase papa. Good evening. Yes sir. Yeah, chairman. Hello? Oh. Sorry. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Abani amwa eke.
Aban me too.
I'm gonna me wan ko me MP honorable first class officer. For now you know kan e budget a adin budget.
Abani yanko enenim.
I'm gonna kata munya benemos o eke. The man no ye me every work promise o use you. Obedin amwa every side amwa ha. Okenya bi bi anyamwa every side the man because na adini yiwo. Me e yo fene every 20 man ko na yimi. Na assembly your friend unit committee when you man kune nti onye abucha ma your friend John Dramani Mahama NDC unit person wa ko won na mo mpimpunju be ke on bo yen ye mpimpunju no ndia propaganda.
Where I say good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello. Oh, on you ready? Memfa you hade na yanko name. Good evening.
Good evening.
How about you do? Me too.
Brother. Wo huye?
Ya huye pa.
Ya walentmenti yankasa kasi. Brother. Mpoche wo. Mpede mi bisa de. Abla nanado sabi His Excellency over 2017 already the first budget. Dama sikana nensakwe modo kro presidency. Yenya nti de se wabro yina na hye wombia.
Debbie. Conversation boko. Se wo bronya abe de conversation mu. Speak to the issue.
Omanya hwe enwu asama de ne Amos otna walaka.
Wa ka den
propaganda not walaka da no hu. Brother. She yakone de menwa on boyan. Fedama na papa na oken. Brother, see yakone de menwa on boa.
But without bringing in se wo bronyi.
Enya na mutu maka cham su be mutu da afa na musubalake. Brother, baby mutu da afa na musubalake.
All right, you.
In simple chow. Mama mesraw, mama come because I'm mutana ade. Budget no reading. Ami, wo ba mo bi sam. Ma econom ma father secretary menyen sika. Women's bank only day. Obobo, wo bi sam. In simple chow mama come do here.
Okay.
Ma ko man kesim go ma ba.
All right.
It's a catch of every then Amos day. So that propaganda na jandam yana wazir bada. Mama on 450 years. One reset one party.
Okay. I be you do be that say. Oche years and oh dabi. When team win you do. When fire you are. Good evening. Yes sir. All right, Richard Peja windi ma'am. Aye.
She's which was the call. Why was a man yesterday? Some or yet. That she's which was the call. Yo, yet so. I won't put me you money fee. Number band to you mostly. Instead, if that been the first time that I bought, I trust someone. If I know, I don't ask someone. But that's it.
But I say, good evening.
Good evening, I'm coming.
Yes, sir.
Cabinet chair and future.
All right, come around me too.
I'm coming. That's it. I'm the balcony. I'm coming. I'm chair. Come with the tailor.
Okay.
I'm coming. I'm pocho. Them Sikana who chose our president or $2.9.
On your dollars or cities?
Master Dan America, the master of the show. I'm coming. Team that you will call you Dr. Bawumia, or the catch and the Parugudam will be $12 billion. And I'm coming now. A banaba or the major project. Another policy order, but the 24-hour economy all Bob Ghana in Nara and big bunny Nara here water. That's a work at the mistake with our presidency with the Jumezi were financial temple. It's not studios, MPP, it's a studios, the to IMP. Them don't share with Mokasa. Yen share a bra without Bamanan. 2.5 or something billion Ghana cedis. No, ain't bida, and like gigi. And then say, when ya banimenti, a banning on yada, or Bama Ghana for in 9 water. And the way, and that when former minister catching there, what kind of better tax into one away. Them seminar to my bachelor studios now, a communication. And you come from Pamba, and that's all Moko baby. Chema eba into Mbaka di Bara, Abano Waya, and Hinanum people. Wunjama Abano, Ombuman, man, and man Bibiano Hontan.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening. Last caller.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Patrick.
All right, Patrick, me too.
Education. See, laptops na the what the mama. Mama or starting way do come one MPP for no ben. Me poto me pele me be so the Central Regional School so wa hire him.
Odoso, Central Region Schools Odoso.
Central Region Schools Odoso. No more him no more laptops.
Okay.
Said the whole school number was leaders in coaching because of BB time was leaders in coaching textbooks. Now other schools in now when you the man can forbid the nation. She said you compete here. You need to textbooks share them number. So if Sabani Dabano Bob Wayman with two more textbooks in the Americans can work to that BB and support with their Oma. Massa, and people would say what they did and then no more than out from him. Says Sitabio Badia, that's the demo work, Scabio Badia. So what the young one said what they are, and Germany, wait to 58 million. Okay, what they could Amana.
But I say, last caller, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
I bet you.
I bet you mean too.
Remember, justice.
Why you do?
In fact, my brother Amos, no, I am Papa. My brother Amos, and then the yellow. Obo President Akufa no nizina. Na President Akufa doesn't know what boy no. President Akufa bla be say Ghana economy ne pasa. Na nya mi na dum. Ye nya President Mama mo reset Ghana ma hen manala so no ho atona. If you be gina e ya be studio na ya jandam. Masa mu nua Emos. Mama pa de chaw. Da me jandam no re no omboa because when what time come sisia me nwa na me in some worry canon pono Emos Mpocho. Mpocho, my academic some Hatadam. I know more party of the opposition at Chelo. I can be a book 42 years, so a book 42 years. Yo, that's it.
But I say, the pastor speaks with too much bitterness. How many tables were they able to supply? They went to Wesley and Prempeh and gave tablet to 20 students for propaganda purposes. You left office when students don't even don't have textbooks. You are not ashamed that you neglected the basic schools. You are suffering to advance your thought. Please, government machinery is not salary from workers. It is for projects that the government machinery oversee and control. So let's know the program and project under government machinery. Nana, all right. Nana, ma can message into the banamin can ya but I can I am a pocho bebre. I say if all budgets presented by various governments and with this specific amount quoted to be used for what they have promised, like this country would have will not have a problem. It is the revenue that you get and you use it to implement your programs and policies. So the money is not sitting in some account for you to go and take it. Okay. Please don't blame government for reducing ordinary workers' salary increment from 25% to 10%, but increased aid presidency allocation from 8.5 billion Ghana cedis to 11.3 billion Ghana cedis. Blame your union leaders who happily accepted that 10% after being told that we should all sacrifice to reset. Now the resetting means more chop chop for the president. You trust politicians at your own. All right. But I say, okay. It is what the MPP man is struggling in his statement like wrestling in the ring just because of suitable economic statement read as budget by the finance minister to facilitate Ghanaians. Richard Emin Sano, but I say Kamera, my name is Ohini Jan, and I am in Besakrum. Please tell Reverend Amos that he shouldn't forget that he is speaking on radio. Therefore, he should educate listeners more rather than the propaganda he is doing. Thank you. Thank you, boss, for sending in your message. My name is Seed Money. Don't you know that meaning of? Don't you know the meaning of seed? There are layers of banks and their minimum deposits. We have savings and loans, commercial banks, etc. Please tell Amos to tone down. He is a pastor. He should speak the truth. But Women's Development Bank or a savings and loan, Anna. What's the Women's Development Bank? Uncle Kamara, if you want to do your program in English, please announce to us. Cratchy. You. I don't know. Okay, Cratchy Yati. But that's it. Isaac Afakwa, okay, my GHS social studies teacher, I join you live on Facebook. Say good evening, or say good afternoon to you. Peter Kwanzaa watching from Briwa, and I'll say greetings to you all, especially Honorable Justice. Okay, so Peter Kwanzaa, no so Ojanian or Facebook or that, but just 10 seconds, uncle.
Yo, AJ Suman, I am my real who then the Minia Reverend Amos, Obatnaha. Now, I can because while located 2.7 billion, what I call Office of Ghana Government Machinery in teacher there in Zamabona na ban year na. And no, all support na they be better now all support na. Ne them say 41%, no, the same thing. Maybe send us some crew that on point as a cry, Excellency John Dramani Mahama Obaya. Why ya or the sikana? What by we wasting wire when 1 point to cry. Look. Regime and you may Mr. Offended. Papa Bode, Dealers Finance, what pay? Joe Jackson. At as my worker. Also, the only thing you can complain about this budget is that there were not enough biblical codes. Anupe. Just as apart from that, and some papa quoting a Ghana for your my brother, why are you confused?
All right.
Now, some American in the 2 million a while locate. They be a come brother be can answer me there. You should them 2 million as I was a year.
All right.
So much since a 24-hour economy or a game changer.
May I say justice? Ben, just a minute, uncle.
Yo, this man, I would thank Ghanaians. Now, my chairman, so I'm a Warsaw host. You see, say, you're better ha near pretend a day, and that itchum. So I do be a you who are all watching. Now, ye him who there in the name of reset. Yeri ya da yin the baby a yerokono. And what your Baba Ghana do not chen any the da. Then, so big catcher the way swim bribia for one or the reho. Yefi a bira, a ben big catcher Ghana day. Government expenditure total budget was a whack. Sika a ban other ko was too much. And there. I spend more than that. Meanwhile, Ojmeyi more senate eretodo. Na on any day, I will hand wa for my beninti. Wajin the magana yina on erisisino on kasa. You see, my uncle Daran Kodo,
okay.
Mahama unsatisfied no ho. Na ochinabi bodru no we hu there. Say us in the yenye koma, you bottom ya channel. Onja na afekro na ndis force yemfa ma ho no onso. No, you're bubu who content that fikri the meaning that, but the truth is that already,
Ben,
you are
all right. Here they see as any been comma Betway, the Masona Ridge Royal Hotel in Jumukua, also in Nasin and the area Bree. As any be soon come our listener caller and one hour do one text message, but one hour on Facebook in the YouTube, you know, yes, I mean, showing be brave. My production team headed by Mr. Bernardo Go Osman, FKK, Blackus, and Alfred Trey and Facebook and our YouTube. Munsumizin is the combination. Auntie and Kibi Wanyami Adomochina Yensen. Have a wonderful good evening. Bye bye.